this?
Welcome to the Killer Comic Show.
Welcome to the Killer Comic Show.
I love our intro because has anyone ever seen Jackass? You know, Party Boy.
I love the fact that I can see everybody.
Like that.
I can see everybody in StreamYard, and we're just going like that, and then with 5 seconds to go, we all go like serious and go, okay, game face.
Who's listening to the show already? Have we got someone like
Tom?
In listening
That's me, mate. Sorry.
But anyway, the three of us are back. You two plus Tim absolutely smashed it last week. You did really well. I had the worst ear infection. I haven't had an ear infection since I was like 15, and I couldn't move. It was all over the place.
It was quality, to be fair. So
it was a good show. Yeah, it was enjoyable, but it's good to have the three of us back. So yeah, it's going to be a good show.
The three amigos back together.
But do we have to do that
Tim
thing?
that I was trying. What thing?
You know, the three amigo dance. Thrust.
I promised Tim I'd try and grow a beard, but I'm not quite there yet.
When are you starting?
Did you start that one as well?
This is more than you've got on your head, mate. So.
Oh, we went for the bomb joke.
Wow,
Early doors.
Bomb jokes are out already. Shit.
But have we had a good week? We've had a good week, yeah.
I've had a tremendous week.
I've had a good week today.
I've had a good week. And do you know what else has been good? The chat has been buzzing since 20 to 9. 20 to 9. We got Andy. Do you want to introduce the chat?
Oh, wait, what?
No.
Tom will do it. Tom will do it. Surely.
I have no control, so I can't.
Okay, I'll do it then. Okay. So you've got my good self. Settle in, everyone. Grab a drink. We'll be with you shortly. Now, like the Hobgoblin Hideaway, welcome to everybody that joined us over from Tim's live show. We don't have a snoring dog, but as I said, if you ask Charlie or even Tom nicely, they'll give you a call. We do have a dog. We should get the dog for in a couple of minutes, actually. We've got ABZ in the house. He's got his tenants, is already cracked open, ready to go. Thanks for joining, ABZ. We have Mr. Chris Bell, Ding Dong, and he said lots and lots of things that I'm not going to read every word because I know that's what Charlie does, but I'm not going to do it, and I'm just going to welcome Chris Bell to the show. So welcome, Chris Bell. Who else have we got? Oh, this is harder than I actually thought. That's what she said. We've got the Killer Comic Show in the Killer Comic Show. So welcome, Killer Comic Show, to the Killer Comic Show. It really is.
It's not me.
We'll get Mr. Not Quite Mint in the house. Yo. We have the one, the only Triple G Comics. Everybody should make sure that they go and sub up to Triple G Comics, doing some wonderful stuff in the YouTube land. We've got lots of back and forth with me, but then we've got Mr. Leon Russell joining us, evening all. You're very welcome, sir. You're always with us, and we really, really appreciate it. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. It's Mr. Hobgoblin's Hideaway. It is Mr. Tim in the house. And we've got Phil's Nerdiverse. Good evening, gents. How are you? Thank you for joining. We have the Poptimus UK. Dan, you are very welcome. Thank you for joining us. And look who we have here. Lucy.
The better half
very welcome.
Of Hobgoblin.
It's the better half of the Hobgoblin, indeed.
You're very, very welcome. We have Gary Mellows Facer in the house. Evening all. Thank you for joining. We have Hydra Collectibles, the a third, I should say, of the Geek Retreat. So if you didn't get the chance to watch the Geek Retreat, it's every Sunday on the Hydra Collectibles TV show. And yours truly was on it last Sunday, and I had great fun. So make sure you go check the rewind and hit that subscribe button. Who else do we have? We've got Connie. Connie has joined us. Hello. Thank you for joining us. And I am absolutely knackered. I am going to hand it over to these other guys. Thank you for joining us.
Now, is it? Cheers. Thanks, Andy. You
Job done.
can all go home now.
Jeez.
So just on the back of the Geek Retreat, I've just literally dropped the link in there because it was a really good show. Really good show. So make sure you check that out. Thank you everyone for joining on this Thursday. Absolutely amazing. It's always nice seeing all your faces. I would say faces, but they're kind of like memes, aren't they? Or GIFs or just logos.
Avatars.
What it is. Avatars, that's the one. That's the one.
Avatars.
And Mark Oldboy's just joined, so welcome. So there are 4 sexy men on YouTube tonight. And I'll let you know when the other 3 arrive. But there we go. But yeah, so who wants to do some pickups? I haven't got anything because I haven't really picked anything up. But Andy, I'm relying on you for this one, and Tom, because you two have always got something.
I've only got a couple of things, guys, but it's certainly quality over quantity. I'll start with a CGC slab that I got from the good people at Limited Edition Comics. This is Amazing Spider-Man issue number 55, second printing in a 9.8.
How long?
How long was that, Andy?
Listen, it's
When did you buy that?
It's been on a journey, guys. It's been on a journey, a little bit like this show. It's been on a journey. It's taken a little bit of time to get there, but I must say that the communication's been fantastic. And yes, it's taken a long while to get to me, but it's arrived. It's arrived in one piece, and I'm happy with it. So I don't know what the issue was. I think they received a batch of them on maybe a couple of occasions, and they were damaged and so on and so forth. But this one was literally graded in April this year. So I know that it's not sort of sat there and been forgotten about. So big up to Limited Edition Comics for providing that. When I say quality, guys, and buckle in, because we've got some fantastic reviews. And one of the reviews we're going to do today is of Digital by Rich Watkin. And Rich was very, very kind to send me the first issue of Digital. I think this is maybe the second printing or the third. I'm sure if Rich is in the house, he'll be able to tell us. And you'll see just here, this is hot off the press. This is the second issue of Digital. So later on this evening, I am going to randomly pick somebody in the chat who gives me the best comment, and I'm going to send these 2 issues to them. So make sure that you're active in the chat. If you are watching and hiding and not going to say anything, make sure that you say something in the chat. Hit that thumbs up as well for us. And if you've not already subscribed, please subscribe to us. And let's see if we can get to 750. That would be amazing. But yes, these are going to be a giveaway for later on, guys. That's me. Short and sweet.
All right. Nice. Short and sweet.
Tom, I'm sure you've got something, haven't you? Other
yeah,
than your
I have.
tanned self.
Other than my tan self and ridiculously white tooth. Yeah, I have. So I got some stuff from Scott Collectibles today, so I'm quite chuffed with that. So I got some Gleason covers. So I got the Virgin of Amazing Spider-Man issue 1, which I showed a couple of weeks ago. This is the Virgin version of it. I absolutely love this cover. I think it's one of my favorite covers that he's done for a while.
Yeah.
Covers. And then I got the Green Goblin one, which is for Amazing Spider-Man issue 1 again.
Cool.
I really like that one, but I much prefer the Virgin one. I think it's
Nice.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that it's purple and green. I think that's really cool. Really, really, really nice.
Did you say you picked it up from Gleason's website, or was this just retail?
Scott's Collectibles, mate.
Scott's Collectibles. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so they're really good quality. They come in mailers, which is really nice. Nice to get stuff in mailers, mate. That's it. That's me. I only had the 3.
Wow, that might be the shortest pickup I think that we've ever had. It means we've got more time to enjoy with the chat, I guess. So
yeah, man, more time to chat with each other.
Indeed,
it is. And I think I think we're getting to that point of the show now where I always forget to do this intro, but I'm not going to forget this week. I'm not going to forget. I'm learning from you guys last week, so I'm just going to jump straight into it. I don't know if that's me, but does that seem really sped up?
I thought it might have just been me. I thought I was on too much medication at the moment, but I was kind of like, yeah, it's definitely sped up.
But this is I've missed this. Last week I kind of know that you all slated my cover, so Rose Besh again. Now I know how you felt 3 or 4 weeks ago, Andrew, and everyone was like, "It's another Frisson cover. They're all
No,
the
that
same.
was
They're all
me.
the same." Oh, was
That
it?
was
Yeah.
me. That was, and
I
the
think-
reason people didn't vote for me is because it wasn't Andy that picked Frisson. It was me.
Guys, I think the word that we used was samey.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the word we used. Better luck
But,
this time,
yeah.
Charles.
I know. It's another Killer Covers edition for June 8th, which was yesterday. So should we just jump straight into it? Up first.
Let's do it.
It's me. So I've gone for Poison Ivy issue 1, and I've gone for my second favorite artist of all time, Dan Mora, who actually happens to be a friend. So I'm pretty happy with picking this as my cover. I just think Dan Mora is insane. I think his artwork's incredible. He can do no wrong in my eyes, and I think he's really captured Pamela Isley really well in this cover. I'm really chuffed with my pick, to be perfectly honest with you.
I've got to say, I've read Poison Ivy #1, and this ties back to the comic more than the other covers do. So I think Dan Moore has really smashed the ball out of the park with this one, and it's really intriguing. And I think it's just, Dan Moore is wicked, and I can see why he's one of my favourite artists, Tom, because it's amazing.
Yeah, it's those eyes, mate. They're really
really
win on this cover.
Yeah, and he's kept her modesty. He's kept her modesty as well, which there's a lot of Poison Ivy covers that have come out which don't do that. So this is one of the very few, but I think it's very, very Frisson-esque, I might say. Maybe Jenny Frisson, the eyes in the face on this one. So yeah, definitely thumbs up from me.
I'd agree. With
and do you know what? I think this, if people were watching the Hobgoblins unboxing earlier, this is very similar to the picture that was sitting behind him. That he said live on the show that he's up for sale. So if you make him an offer, there's an offer it's an offer he can refuse, and I'm sure him and Lucy will go head to head to see if they accept it or not. So yeah, it is apparently up for sale.
I reckon if that picture goes up on the website at 12 o'clock, then Lucy might have something to say about that.
Maybe. I reckon she will. So Tom's gone with Poison Ivy issue #1 for the Dan Mora variant cover. The old faithful, Andy.
I had to. I think we had a bit of back and forth, Charlie, with the cover that you picked, because it is a stunner. But I went for Old Faithful. I went for the Batman 124 issue. Is it 124?
Yes.
Is it 125? 124, is it? Jock 1 in 50 foil variant. I think this cover, of all the covers that Jock's done for the 1 in 50s, is probably the best. I think how he's captured it is fantastic. I got the previous issue, which had the yellow foil cover, the one with Batman's upside down, and it is absolutely stunning. So I have this on order. I'm looking forward to it arriving. But I think this is absolutely Jock at his very, very best.
I've said this time and time again, with the Jock foil variants, this does no justice to it. So if you want to see how spectacular this cover is, head over and either follow Jock on Twitter and Instagram and have a look, because he'll have one and he'll flash it and you'll be able to see like the light and everything in it. I've got to be honest, Andy, even though as much as I like this, I looked at it and was like, for me, this is like Jock's Batman's in B&Q with Robin, and Robin is playing and he's knocked over a tin of yellow paint and it's all spilled down on him, and he's looking down at Robin going, again, really?
Listen, guys, I feel suddenly attacked. Okay, so just wait a minute second here. Mark Oldroyd appears to be raining pish in Gotham. Guys, I like it, okay, and I'm going to get it because it's Jock, so move on. Just move on.
Andy, mate, like, I don't take anything away from your cover picks or anything, or Jock's artwork. These Batman covers are all so similar, man. They're all so samey.
How different can Batman covers be? I would have preferred it if it would have only been maybe 1 or 2 covers.
Yes.
Because I know, obviously, I think Batman is at 125 is the big issue with Chip Zdarsky writing and stuff like that. If it had been like 1 or 2 of them, especially with it being a 1 in 50, it's not making it the easiest to pick up. Now, in fairness, I did pick up the 1 in 50 for like 20 quid from Forbidden Planet, so I'm hoping that it arrives safely. But I do get it. It feels as if there's a little bit of, how many is too many. But as I say, the reason why I picked this is because I think this is the best of the bunch. If you take this on its own, this is the best of the bunch.
I would totally agree. Probably the best of the bunch out of the Jock foil covers, but I just feel like I wish they would stop shitting out Jock covers, because he deserves to have like one every now and then special cover rather than every bi-monthly, isn't it? It's every other week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No,
that's what I was
agree.
about to say. Every single issue from 118 up until 127 is jock covers. If you want to see them all, go on to League of Comic Geeks and you can see them all in a run. And they're amazing covers, but
I can't unsee this comment. No, Batman doing the time warp with his hands on his hips.
while him being Q, while it's pissing outside.
I'm getting a feeling here, guys, that I'm not going to win this week. I'm just.
Do you know what,
calling it
Andy?
there.
Andy,
You might
you're
get
pretty
the
smart
sympathy
though,
vote.
because we've been speaking about it so long. It's been on the screen the longest.
So far.
True.
Well,
So what do
always
you think of
looks
the?
at
I mean, what do you think of the background, guys? And the fact that it's a foot. Let's just talk a wee bit more about it and keep it up there. So yeah,
That's why
like
Charlie
it.
always puts his slide last.
exactly.
I
And that's
do
why
not
Charlie's
put my
winning.
stuff.
Just
So we've had Poison Ivy issue number 1. We've had the Dan Moore variant cover. We've had the Jock 1 in 54 variant, and we have this one. So I've gone for the Poison Ivy issue number 1, the Nathan Shirty. This is not the tattoo variant cover, so I've got that wrong because this is where me and Andy were going backwards and forwards. Nathan Shirty's done 3 covers. He's done the Virgin cover of this. He's done the trade, which is this one, and then he's done a tattoo variant. Me and Andy was umming and ahhing about the tattoo variant because I picked this one and Andy picked the tattoo one. This for me is, this is my kind of artwork. This is amazing.
it's the only time that the three of us get really competitive is when we're actually sharing the covers of the week that we're going to choose, because you can sense it in the chat that there's kind of a like, that's not going to win, or how dare he pick that cover. But see, whenever I don't know if you were the same, Tom, but whenever Charlie sent this cover through, I was like, oh no, I wish I'd have picked that one.
Literally, the moment he sent it through, I was like, I like my cover, but I think I like this one more.
And you know what? Like sometimes, like Hydra Collectibles says it time and time again. Sometimes you want a comic book to look like a comic book. Sometimes you want it as an art piece. I think this is one of the only times that I've actually gone with the trade variant of the cover because it looks more impactful than the Virgin does. Like with the Poison Ivy Virgin, it just literally looks like an art piece. With this, it's a comic book cover. You can see it says Poison Ivy and the leaves and the ivy tie into the image and stuff like that. So this is why I went for it. And the tattoo variant for me just wasn't as impactful as this one for me. So, but I've gone for this.
And I think a lot of it is to do with the Poison Ivy logo as well. I think it's in keeping with the whole book, and it just doesn't jump out at you. And the fact that the DC logo as well is so small. But guys, if you get the chance, go and have a look at the tattoo variant as well, because that was the one I was going to pick just for giggles. But it is absolutely stunning as well.
Yeah, I agree. My only criticism with like these types of covers is because they're digital. So I mean, digital art isn't easier than hand-drawn art at all. Digital art is very, very hard. I just think there's more craft in a hand-drawn art. Like, so mine and Andy's covers are hand-drawn. I think there's a little bit more craft to that. But I do like this cover. That's not taken away from it at all.
No, I am taking away from it. That's a great point, Tom. That's an absolutely great point. And I didn't think about that, but everybody in chat should consider that when they're voting.
Yeah, absolutely. The craft.
Poison Ivy, and it was Shirdsy. Right, so the vote is now live. So as always, place your votes and we will have the winner at the end of the show. But before we get on to the comic book reviews, we've got another slide. Now this was news hot off the press over at Tim and Lucy's Hobgoblin's Hideaway from 7:30 tonight. They've been working tirelessly, and they've even got their son involved, and he's been working tirelessly on work experience, and they have now finally the thought process with it's come to fruition, and the Hobgoblin's Hideaway has a website. It will be going live at 12 p.m. tonight. No, 12 a.m. Sorry, 12 a.m.
Yeah.
12 a.m. It'll be going live at 12 a.m. www.hobgoblinshideaway.co.uk. Fantastic stuff there. You've got graded books, got raw books, got CBS grading, useful links and contacts and everything. If you haven't checked out the Facebook group, you don't know what you're missing. As Andy always says, their giveaways and their shows that they do on a Saturday and everything like that. It's like going out but staying in. That's Andy. Can you elaborate on that? Tom, can you elaborate on that?
100% for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Tom?
I mean, it's one of those things where it's just enjoyable. Even if you don't buy anything, it's a really enjoyable thing to do on a Saturday night. It's just to jump in, chat with the community, listen to Tim go on, like chat to Lucy, listen to the dog snoring. It really is actually good fun. It's better than Gogglebox.
and the thing is as well, guys, is that we talk a lot about community within the comic sort of sphere, but there is an actual community that Tim and Lucy have created within the Hobgoblin Hideaway Facebook group. So make sure that you go and join that and be part of it. And I would say that once this goes live, go check out the website. If there's anything that takes your fancy, pick it up, because Tim and Lucy are good people, and they've got a house to pay for as well. So come on, guys, dig deep.
And on top of that, you might have seen if you was watching the show that obviously Tim is unofficially the 4th member of the Killer Comic Show, other than Rag. So there's 5. And we've been given codes. We've been given 3 codes.
Rags is
an official member.
If Rags has got a code.
Yeah, we'll have to see. So we've been given 3 codes. Now, obviously, the whole premise of this show is that we pick 3 books every week to review. So we've been given free reign to pick 3 books from the Hobgoblin site, and we've been given a discount code as well. And that discount code will, Tim or Lucy, if you can confirm in the chat, that discount code will be available to use from midnight tonight. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So the books we picked are. So Andy.
Yes. I went for my very first love when it came to geek and all things nerd is The Mask, issue number 1. This is a beautiful CBCS 9.4. And when the website is up, one person, if they like this, can go in, put this in their basket, and put in this code KCS Andy 15, and you'll get 15% off. So one off. Only one person can use it. When it's done, it's done. First come, first served. But this is the slab that I picked. So if anybody else likes this, go and pick this up when the website's available.
Tom?
Yeah, so my pick, again, same as Andy. My first ever comic book I ever owned was Spawn Bible, which is the one where it gives all the character details and stuff. And it actually inspired me to become an artist myself. So I thought it was only fitting that I should pick a Spawn issue, which is issue 300, which is the milestone issue. The first time any indie comic has got to 300. It's also got my favorite comic book artist's artwork on it, J. Scott Campbell. It's also signed by J. Scott Campbell. It's a 9.8, and one lucky person gets a chance to use my code, which is KCS Tom 15, and you get 15% off. It's a one code, one use only, guys. So it is first come, first serve. Like Andy said, definitely go down and get it, guys. 12 o'clock tonight, tomorrow, whichever way you look at it.
Seriously, they are. And then I've obviously gone for Roger Rabbit. Was one of my favorite films growing up. It was like amazing. It tied in like the action, the comedic values, and comedy and everything, and cartoon characters. What wasn't there to love about Jessica Rabbit, Bob Hoskins, and Roger Rabbit? Do you know what I mean? It was great. So I have gone for the 9.8 Roger Rabbit. Oh, it's amazing. This needs to be in someone's collection, and you can have it in your collection by going over to hobgoblinshideaway.co.uk and putting in KCS Charlie 15 from midnight tonight, and one person can add that to their collection, and they can show it all off on socials, and they can big us up for getting a discount, and they can big up Tim and Lucy for putting together such a fantastic website. So, guys, I can't shout about this enough. This is an amazing opportunity for a launch of a website, and I feel very privileged to be able to pick a graded book to contribute to the opening of the website. So I feel very privileged. So thanks, Tim and Lucy, for that.
100%,
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
It's amazing to be part of something so special and a like, you know, part of history really for the Hobgoblin Hideaway. I feel honoured to be a part of it.
Good things happen to good people.
I think Phil's pumping out the comments tonight. Jessica Rabbit was hot. She was.
Affirmative. Was that your first love, Charlie? If you like to old Roger Rabbit?
I think it was. And then I met my wife. I've got to say that because she's sitting next door. If I don't say that, I'll be in the doghouse.
Oh my God.
But then,
if you hadn't said that, just a kettle comes out of the side, just thumped him in the head.
But then Sun Kamunaki did a Jessica Rabbit variant cover, and it was incredible. I literally signed up to her Patreon just to get the artwork of that, and then I just cancelled my Patreon account just so I had that. So yeah, Jessica Rabbit is the one for me. So
nice.
Yeah. So that's the business end of the work done so far. So if we get on to the Killer Comic Show Week 22 review. Now, for new viewers that have come over from Hobgoblin's Hideaway, welcome. And the whole premise of this show is that when we first started out, we was reviewing comics that came out yesterday. But then we would be told off, and we've been inundated of DMs saying, "You've just spoiled the comic. What's the point of me buying it for that more?" I'm going on like this. This shows we have millions of viewers. We don't. We decided as a collective to do the shows from the week before, because then it gives you, the viewers, the chance to read the comics. And if any spoilers come up, then we can't be held responsible, because that's your lazy ass problem for not reading the comics.
Disclaimer.
So basically, these are. It is the disclaimer. I've got to put that in now. I'll put it on a tag as well. So these are the comics
the
that
little
we've
thing at the
chosen.
bottom that you can have scrolled sometimes. You should have it written out. If you haven't read any comics that we're going to be reviewing, go fuck yourself.
There we go. Look, spoiler warning. There we go. Spoiler warning. So we have basically chosen 4 comics from last week. So Tom went, we have Demons issue number 3, the final issue from Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. Andy went with The Closet from the one and only James Tynion. I went with Little Monsters, the one and only Jeff Lemire. And then we all, as a group, decided to go with Digital issue number 1 by Rich Watkin. Now, 4 fantastic comics. Up first, we have Little Monsters issue number 4. So the main cover is by Dustin Nguyen, and cover B is by Ryle Allen, who, Tom, you picked this cover last week, didn't you?
I did. I thought it was it's one of my favorite covers from last week. I just really like the simplicity of it.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to get started on this story. So issue number 3, Andy, I think you'll remember saying it was a filler.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you did. I've got to say, I've been loving this. I like Jeff Lemire, and I like the fact that it's vampires and it's all the occult and stuff like that. So I really like this story. This for me ramped it up again. This for me really ramped it up again. I really enjoyed it again. I like what they've been doing. So every single issue, you've been finding out about a different character or different characters. You found out about their backstory and where they got to and how they got to where they are now. This story was quite gut-wrenching, to be fair, because you find out about the 2 brothers, how they grew up and what happened to them as they were growing up. One's always egging the other one on. It's like, oh, you do this and then I'll do it. And we see it in, I think it was issue number 1, where one of them eggs him on and he doesn't end up doing it. Yeah. And it was kind of like a flashback in this issue, because he's like, oh, you do it. And I was like, well, he's not going to jump off the cliff, or he's not going to push him. He's just going to let his brother fall, and he's just going to laugh like he did in the first issue. This was quite an emotional issue, if I'm being honest. And I think this is one out of the 4 issues. This is probably my favourite one, because there was so much involvement in it. You kind of see, like, the whole premise of this is it's Lost Boys type of thing. There's 7 or 8 children that they know that they're vampires, but they don't really know that they can eat blood. They've kind of just been. They've lost a loved one. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but they've kind of lost a loved one. And this one person said, "Oh, come with me. We'll make things better. And this is the way you'll live. The end of the world." And they've kind of got into this formula now where one of them's gone missing. It's like, well, where's he gone missing? And then you find out that he's tasted the forbidden fruit, as it were. He's tasted blood from a human, and there's no going back from it. And then throughout the next issues, they've kind of been finding out about it, wanting to taste the blood. And now we get to a poignant moment in this comic where them tasting the blood has disastrous effects. And it's very, very emotional. And before I go on to the pages that I've picked, I'd love to know what you guys thought of this issue.
Tom, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sound. So, yeah, I totally agree, Charlie. I thought this was much stronger, much stronger than issue 3, especially where issue 3 left off. I mean, we spoke about it being a bit of a filler. I didn't think it was a filler issue. I thought it was a nice build-up. But after going back and doing what we do, or sometimes we do, where we reread an issue before we read the next issue, I did that with this week, with this. And I do think, although it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was a filler, but it was a very slow builder. And this issue was much better, much stronger. And the relationship between the brothers, I thought, was really interesting. And being like the one being pushed by the other to do stuff, I thought that was a really interesting development in this. And they explored on that a little bit more about their past and how they left home. And they forced themselves to leave home to make it easier for their family, which I thought was kind of heart-wrenching, kind of like, wow, that's so cool. Like, imagine having the bollocks to do that. And then, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the vampire that came to see those two was a different vampire than we had in the other comics.
Yeah, yeah.
Or like you got to
Yes.
see more of his facial features. So I'm not sure if they're two different characters or whether it's the same character, just you without the hood and without all the black makeup and stuff. But I did notice it seemed like a different character, which I thought was interesting. I liked the character development with the two characters that are wandering around, the guy with the guitar and the girl. I thought their character development was really good in this one when they meet up with the lad who can't speak and he's got the human with her. And then obviously the next part of that is then when these guys have their first taste of blood and it just goes bizarre. Is this a 5-issue miniseries?
Yeah, 5,
Yeah,
isn't
there's
it?
only
Yeah.
one left to go. I just cannot see how he's going to wrap this up without leaving us on a huge cliffhanger.
For 5 or 6, I think it is.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a long run.
No. But yeah, I really liked it. 100% a killer from me, and the artwork really lends itself. I just love the flashes of color. I think it's really class. I really do. Andy?
Yeah, issue 3 for me, as you guys said, I think I may have used the words filler. This issue
May have.
Okay, I did. This issue absolutely redeemed itself. From issue number 1 right through to now, it's kind of been like almost like a slow pace, like a walking pace. And then issue 4 just seemed to be absolutely frantic. There was no stopping. And you kind of got to the end of the issue exhausted because of what you had sort of taken in. Because on the one hand, you're watching kids, but on the other hand, you've got to remember these kids are vampires, and basically they've got a lust for blood. But with kids comes playing games, and it almost feels in this issue as if going to get the adults was a little bit of a game. They kind of like crept up on them and then sort of pounced. But then I think what the game changer was the last panel of this, where the kids kind of realised that there's consequences to, messing with adults. And we've seen what happened in that. You can see their fantastic timing. So we've got that page on the right hand side where one of the adults effectively just takes the neck off the kid, and that stopped me in my tracks because it's visually a horrific couple of panels. But on the other hand, you could understand why it was happening because they just attacked and effectively killed 4 or 5 of his friends. I loved this issue. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I think this whole arc or this whole story is going to be a sum of all its parts. I think if you did read issue 3 and you didn't enjoy it, definitely make sure that you pick this up. And I would definitely pick up the trade when it comes out, because I think sitting down with a cup of coffee and just reading this from start to finish will be an absolute fantastic read.
I agree, mate.
And I think Triple G has just said, I wasn't sold on this, read the first issue, then dropped it, may pick up the trade. Do you know, if Andy hadn't chosen this for the first issue, I think I wouldn't have read it, because I'm like, black and white. I think the first one I read in ages was Serial, and that was in black and white, and I was like,
yeah.
But where this is in black and white and you get the flashes of red, it's quite an impactful read.
Without a doubt. And the beauty of it as well, Charlie, is that the art sort of plays on the fact of shadow and light. I don't know if you've sort of noticed that throughout the 4 issues. And it kind of feels as if the artist is foreshadowing the very existence of vampires themselves. The fact that they stay in the shadows and they don't like to come out in the light. And that's what this feels like. And especially when you see the blood, that's the only time that you see real colour. As horrifying as those scenes are, if that blood wasn't red on that right-hand side panel, it probably wouldn't have the same effect. So I think the artwork in this is stellar. And Peter, I would highly recommend you jump back on issue 2. Yeah,
I could not agree more. So this is definitely, it's quite fitting that this is a killer. To be honest, this is very much a killer.
I got from this last panel, this bit here where like he slices up Raymond. I got massive kind of Glenn from Walking Dead vibes.
Yes,
yeah.
Because this is the one he's pushing around. Like, come on, you can do it, you can do it. He's the good brother, as it were, and he's the one that gets sliced up. I mean, it's like, even though he's just eating people, I was like, man, that sucks. Poor bloke.
Yeah, it's like your brain shouldn't feel sorry for the kids.
Not at all.
It feels weird. So I think that's the beauty of Lemire's work. He really gets the heart. He pulls in the heartstrings.
I mean, because that's it. Because on the contrast, on the left side where it says Ronnie and Raymond, they're taking a chunk out of a human. And you're like, oh my God, what are you actually doing? But then on the flip side of that, he gets his head cut off and you're like, oh, mate, that was a...
Yeah, it's kind of a funny how we look at the right-hand panel and we go, oh my goodness, that's a shame that kid's getting his head taken off. And then you look at the left-hand side and you see the kid taking a bite out of an arm. You go, oh, that's all right.
Hey, like, I read it. I got to this point and I was like, oh man, what a bastard. He's just cut his head off. Oh, someone kill that bloke. Quick.
Yeah.
But yes, so that is definitely 100% killer for me. I'm definitely going to be picking up the rest of them and I will be picking up the trade as well. So I assume it's a killer from you two as well?
100% killer, yeah. Best issue of the four.
100%. 100%. Up next, there we go. So Andy, there was a shed load of covers, but I picked 8 for you. I picked 8 covers for you.
I was going to say, yeah, there was a lot of covers for this. So this is a Closet issue number 1. This is a 3-part series, and it's written by James Tynion the 4th, and the artwork is by Gavin Fullerton. So we've got the main cover there by Gavin Fullerton. We've got the Outer Limits variant by Aaron Bartling. We've got the Chrissy Zulu variant by Golden Apple. We've got the Chris Amunga variant as well, which I think is quite cool. We've got the fantastic 1 in 50 Declan Shalvey variant, which you will get more appreciation for once you've read the first issue. Mm-hmm. So this is one of my favourite covers. We've got the spectacular John Gallagher exclusive variant. If anybody knows how to draw a monster, it's John Gallagher. We've got the Nuno Pereira Stadium Comics exclusive variant. And then we've got the John Zhang Virgin variant, which is absolutely fantastic as well. So this was by Image Comics. And before I kick off with what I thought of it, guys, would you have picked this up if it wasn't James Tynion that was writing it?
I wouldn't have picked it up if you hadn't picked it.
Okay. That I must admit, whenever I seen it, it was the reason I picked it was because James was writing it first and foremost. So the premise of this is that the character Tom is moving cross country with his family.
Yeah. Why is he called Tom, by the way? I mean, that straight off the bat was like, why?
Tom with a H as well. He's moving cross country with his family. And the synopsis says that he's dragging the past with him. His son Jamie is seeing monsters in the bedroom closet and will not let them go. We get pushed right into Tom's life. He's sitting at the bar and you can just see he's kind of drinking his sorrows away, just drinking his life away, and he's talking to the barman.
Sounds relatable.
Yeah, absolutely. We've all been there, guys. At the end of the day, we've all been there.
Everyone called Tom's definitely been there.
And after maybe 3, 4, or 5 drinks down, he decides that he's going to go back. And they're obviously in the midst of moving, so he actually went out originally to pick up, like, I think it was like sellotape or something like that to tape up the boxes. But you can tell that things aren't quite right when he gets home, and it feels to me like there's kind of a juxtaposition between the monster that apparently the kid is seen in the closet and kind of the monster that is that Tom and his wife's relationship, because it seems kind of a septic. Did you guys get that, Charlie, Tom? That it was kind of there was something underlying that wasn't quite right about their relationship?
I don't think that. I think they're only staying together for the kid. I think that was not what I got from it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
Charlie?
I think there's something. I don't think I know the comic's called The Closet, but I think there's something else. There's a backstory to the relationship between Tom and his wife.
Without doubt.
But yeah, carry on. I'll get to what I thought about this.
Absolutely. So it was kind of there was like split up into 3 this issue. So it was in the bar, then there was the confrontation with him and his wife, and then we get to kind of what we wanted from this book and what we were kind of expecting was the kid goes to sleep, the kid complains that he's seen a monster, and then we get to see the monster, which, you know, it wasn't a surprise because every single variant cover has kind of ruined what that monster is. Mm-hmm. But having read the story, I can see why people might not enjoy this first issue. But I took it as I was kind of looking a little bit deeper into it, and I actually don't think that the monster is that representation of what we see on the pages. I actually think that it's the monster is a kind of a manifestation of the trauma that little boy is experiencing, because he hears his mum and dad arguing all the time, and he hears his mum belittling his father, and I think that's what the monster is. And I think he goes to his room, and I think he's the one that goes into the closet to actually escape the arguing and the fighting that his mum and dad does.
This is exactly what I was going to say.
I was
Pretty
literally
much
just going
exactly
to
what I was
say.
gonna say.
So anyone in the chat, us three, when we pick the comics to review, we will either say in the chat we liked it or didn't, but we won't go into the review of the chat, the review of the comic, until we get on the show. So what you're hearing now is the first time that you're hearing Andy's review or my review and Tom's review. Andy, you've literally taken the words out of my mouth what I was going to say, because I didn't think this issue was the strongest issue, and I think what Leon Russell is saying totally knocks you on the head. Wasn't overly sold on this. It's well done for what it was, but not particularly original. I mean, there's a monster in the closet. Kid can't get parents to believe him. Seen that once or twice before. I have to say that there's two ways this story could go for me. In my mind, I was reading it as this. The closet is a manifestation, because when the closet's open, he kind of envisions what coming out. So it might be a different monster all the time, or it might be something to do with the argument his mum and dad are having, because it seems that they are constantly arguing. It seems like he's not grown up in a broken home, but the establishment of his dad can never do any right. His mum's always having to go at him. They're always banging heads, always having to go at each other, and he doesn't know where to fit in with that. His dad's trying so hard. He's like, well, look, I've just come home and I've got some unicorn piss for you. And his mum's like, well, one, you're swearing at the kid, and two, why are you doing that? And I think, as you've said, it is. I think it's either a manifestation of what he thinks is the monster in the relationship and how he perceives it. But the telling part is that there's 3 covers that have come out of I think there's 37 covers that have come out for this. 3 of them have an open closet with nothing in it. And I think that is because he wants to go into that closet to get away from it.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's what I'm taking from it. I think that's a safe space. I don't even know if it actually exists. Mm-hmm. Because if you look at the 2 boxes in one of the panels, there was no closet door there.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden there was a closet door, and then there was one above his bedroom or above his bed. And I think it's just in his mind. It's just a place for him to go and seek refuge.
Looks a bit like Schmoodle to me. And Tom, just before you jump on, I didn't think this was the strongest issue. I'm very much with Leon. Like, this has been done before. Boy in a closet, or he's under his bed, looks up and there's a monster there. But I think the underlying tone and the underlying storytelling from this is what will make this story and what will make this comic sell and what will make this become a very good horror story.
True.
So that's where I'm going to leave it. Tom.
So I thought it was okay. I wouldn't say it was a killer for me. I thought it, like same shot Charlie, I thought it was a little bit of a weak issue, because again, it's been done before. I'm just reiterating what Charlie said. It has been done before. It didn't seem anything unique, but it did make me think a little bit about what it is that the little boy's going through. Because the main part of this story is just Tom in the bar chatting crap with the bartender. The reader set up this thing that he has a really bad home life, and he takes it everywhere with him. So he's the one that's got the problem. He's the one that's got the demons, not the kid. And then that's been impressioned on the kid. Now, I've got 2 theories on this. Now, my first theory is that their relationship between the mom and the dad is broken because they've either had another child and it's died, or this child has been locked in a closet at some point, which is why he's frightened of it. And they've pushed him in the closet, locked it, and like he can't be involved in, any of the arguments. And because he's been in there trying to get out, he's now frightened of it. And being in there, if you're in the closet when you're a kid and it's dark and you've got clothes behind, you're gonna think it's a fucking monster. I mean, I did. I didn't lock myself in a closet, but you know what I mean. I think it's one of those 2 things. It's either he's frightened of the closet because he's been trapped in it and he wants to get away from it, but then it's messed with his head, like we said a minute ago. Like he's like that's his safe. Like the demon is in, or the monster's in the closet. He's frightened of the closet, but the closet's going to go everywhere with him because it's in his head. Or he had a brother or sister that's recently or previously passed, which is why the parents are arguing. And this is what he's being haunted by, is that memory.
I'm gonna throw a curveball here, and it just came into my mind here. And yeah, if anybody can recommend a good therapist, but do you remember the first couple of panels when the guy Tom is drinking in the bar? Doesn't the outline in the closet look like a pint of beer that he was drinking? So could the closet be something to do with alcoholism and all that good stuff?
And what's to say that the closet isn't like the monster in the closet isn't his dad? Like it could be his dad beats him, comes in through the bedroom, beats him.
The beauty of this, guys, is that we thought this wasn't a strong issue as well. That's the beauty of it. But exactly. I would go back to what I originally said, and I think this is going to be a fantastic 3-issue run. I think there's going to be. I'm so looking forward to issue 2. But my question still is that if this wasn't James Tynion that had written this, I'm not entirely sure if I'd have kept with it. I trust that something's going to happen really, really. And I guess because it wasn't in your face what was happening, that I had to make up these sort of rationale as to what was happening to make it a little bit more interesting. And I think, well, I'm hoping issue 2 is going to answer some of those queries for me, I guess.
Yeah.
I want to buy this. I want to buy this unicorn piss. I don't want Still It Bang anymore. I want unicorn piss. And as Mark said, if Tesco started selling it, I'd buy it. And I guarantee you, based off the back of this, Aldi will be selling it in the next couple of months.
Listen, how many people do you think actually bought that cover though without reading the story? Because you would have no idea what that's alluding
buy
to.
For their little daughter.
Genius.
Like, here, I've got this book for you. Like unicorns.
Gone like that. What's this?
But yeah, no, I think this was a thought-provoking comic. As you can tell, we've had 5 or 6 different discussions all about it. But I think, yeah.
Listen, Mark's not wrong. He's not wrong at all.
They don't want to help us here. I think it's going to take more than a few psychologists. I think you need the Ghostbusters as well, to be fair. There we go. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't the strongest comic, but I think reading it, I now hearing your theories, I now want to read it again, which is great, because based on me reading it, I'll be like, this is a one and done. But now, after hearing Tom's mic drop and your point theory, I want to read it again, which is great. Thank you, guys.
Isn't that the beautiful thing about the Killer Comic Show? Is we'll read a book, we all take something different from it, we talk about it, and then we all want to go back and reread the book and see if we can see what the other person saw. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
And I guarantee anybody that's watching the rewind who picks this up post reading or hearing our thoughts isn't going to read this book the same. They're going to be so messed up reading this book.
Yeah. We'll get some bills shortly for therapy and counselling.
Yeah. So, based on that, I'm going to say it's a killer, but not based on the story that I read, on the stories that I'm looking forward to reading, on the assumption of what you two see from it, which is really weird, because I think it's the first time I've done it.
I am going to give this a killer on the basis of the conversation that this has generated between the three of us in the chat. I think this is what comics are all about, whether it's by James Tynion or anybody or whatever publisher. This is why we read comics. This is exactly why. So it's a killer for me. Yeah,
I totally agree. I'm going to say it's a borderline killer for me, but I'm going to say exactly the same thing. The only reason I'm giving it a killer is because it's very thought-provoking. It's opened a huge world of conversation between the three of us.
And on that, Wakazashi is joined right at the right time. Good morning.
What's up, brother?
5:45 here, and I am feeding Genki. Genki is an amazing word. I love that. I need to find out what it actually means before I start shouting it every morning. I'm feeding Genki, and then I just get whatever. But he's also raised a good point. Do you think James Tynion had a happy childhood? If you, I mean, it does seem to do it like horror stories very well, but then the artwork in this, we haven't even touched on it, have we? We haven't even got into the bloody artwork yet. It's so funny you should say that, because I was just Gavin Fullerton, who is from Ireland, I believe, done the artwork for this, and I thought it was absolutely solid, the artwork. I thought it was kind of very in keeping with the sort of emotional tone that the book was trying to deliver, and I think it the panel, we talk about it, Tom, we're always one for the panel choices on this, but I thought that was what absolutely won this book as well, is the choice of the panels, the size of the panels and where they were positioned, because it really felt like a script. It felt like a bit of a TV or movie script at times. So yeah, hats off to Gavin Fullerton's artwork. I thought it was absolutely spot on.
I totally agree, mate. The way that he's picked the shots, so rather than it be your normal headshots for emotion, you're getting this bit here, like you're literally just getting the bottom of the face and the chest, so you get the body language, which is really hard to draw. So fair play.
But it's like when she's got her eyes squinted, the panel's smaller, and then when her eyes are wide open,
makes it bigger.
It's the subtle things like that. And I think, Mark has so ABZ has said he's an ex-lawyer and just a great storyteller, in my opinion. Mark says he is James Tynion the fourth, which suggests a degree of egotism through 3 generations.
That's a bit harsh. That's a little bit harsh.
Some dark stuff. And Teams Kings, MF, I think this is the first time you've been in the chat, so welcome. Thank you very much. The art feels like a direct mix between Werther Deledra and Alvaro Martinez Bueno. That is a great comparison.
Team Kings earlier on did say when Andy was doing the digital covers that it is the third printing.
Okay.
Just so you know.
So the digital
for this?
is the third printing.
Yeah.
Perfect.
For this. Okay, cool.
Thank you very much, Team Kings. So for me, this is a killer.
Killer for me.
Nah.
And killer for Tom. Next.
So that's 2 out of 2, not too bad. Up next we have
Me. Yeah, so I picked We Have Demons by the fantastic team of Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder. This one's been out a while on Comixology, but it only came out a couple of weeks ago in raw form, released by Dark Horse Comics. And this one is coming off the back of issue 2, where we had the revelation that Lamb's dad is actually one of the demons that they're going to try and kill, who have got this what's it called now? It's
is it Halo?
Called? Halo. No, Halo's the good stuff. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, he's full of this stuff, and he's like basically trying to kill Lamb. So it all starts off with that. That's the whole premise of this first like couple of panels.
The horn. We all have a little bit of horn.
So her dad's got the horn. Yeah. Okay. So her dad's got the horn, full of the horn. And so he's basically trying to kill his daughter and trying to tell her that they've, set this trap and all this other stuff. And it's very. I think the first couple of panels are really good because she has to fight her dad. And then this this revelation that they've now the guy who sent them to where they need to go to get this next set of Halo has basically told them where to go, but he's been full of horn. So it's like, is he telling the truth? So it ends up disbanding the group, and you end up with just Lamb and Gus, and I can't remember, is it June? They go off to get the Halo, and the other guys bugger off to basically stay safe. And that's where I think it gets interesting, because you get a bit of a twist in the fact that when they rock up, the demons are ready for them. But Lamb decides to take off Gus's headpiece, and he goes full horn, even though he can't, earlier on, he couldn't control it in the few other books. But this time, he managed to control his horn. Yes.
I'm such a kid.
Yes,
sorry.
I'm laughing inside as I'm saying it. So he's able to control it, which is really good, really, really good. And then you find out that the demons that are waiting for him happen to be his family, which is like, oh my God, this guy's actually got to go and fight his whole family. And then you find out there's a bit of a twist. And I think at that point, this book really came alive for me, because it was like, I didn't see that coming. And I'm glad it happened. All I wanted, though, is I think it could have gone on a little bit longer. I think you could have stretched it out to an issue 4 and a bit more interesting on that.
Charlie, are you okay?
He's got the horn, hasn't he? He's just laughing.
It's just the words horny, stretch it out. Yeah, I didn't see it coming. I'm such a kid. I'm so sorry, honestly. But no,
yeah, I do.
This
was a killer from me. So yeah, you can take it now.
Charlie?
Andy, can you? Because I'm gonna have a giggle fit. So just if you can, I'm gonna go on mute, and just, if you just carry on.
Okay.
When I was talking, thanks.
he's absolutely on one at the minute. So we have Demons issue number 3. Just to touch on, Tom, what you said at the end there. That's what got me. Yeah, exactly. That's what got me for this issue, was the fact that this was only 3 issues, and there was so much crammed into this issue that it was oh Jesus, like, I'm not going to be able to get through this review with you two giggling kids. Stop it. There was so much crammed into this issue in terms of story.
So softly, there's so much crammed into this issue.
Listen, the guys who wrote Digital are waiting patiently for us to review their book, and they're having serious second thoughts now because they're going, what is going to happen with this 4th book? No. So in this issue, we find out that June is a traitor and a demon. But does anybody really remember who June was in issue sort of 1 and 2? I know that I didn't, so I wasn't too sure if I cared at that point. And then Lamb gets better at using the blade, and Gus all of a sudden is able to not go absolutely crazy and kill everybody without his halo on. And these are only things that were established in this issue. Yeah. And it kind of didn't give the reader, or I'll speak for myself, it didn't give me the time for it to sort of bed in and settle in and get used to it. And I promised myself, guys, that I was going to try and be as positive as possible after my last escapade on one of the comics that we did. But a little bit of cynicism crept in when I finished reading this issue, and it felt like that it could have been a 4 or 5 issue run easily, and but it felt like maybe the writer or the creators were under pressure to cram everything in 3 issues, and it felt a little bit more like a TV or a movie pitch rather than a full-blown end-to-end story. And that's my only disappointment. But my massive highlight about this book is the incredible artwork. It is unbelievable, and I honestly, you have to read this book and go to the last 5 or 6 pages where it actually focuses on the original pencil works from Greg Capullo. And they are absolutely out of this world stunning, and it shows you the pencil work. Unbelievable. Like, if anybody can draw a monster, it's him. And I think this book gives a real sense of the quality that he wields as an artist. And I think this is what I take away from this book, is absolutely how good Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo are as a creative team. Anything they touch just works. But for me, I think
to be a bit longer, didn't it? It just needed to be a couple of extra issues, because this literally issue 3 felt like it could have been an extra 3 issues on its own. Issue 1 and 2 were great. Issue 3 was really good. Just like you said, it was so crammed, full of horn.
Full of horn, absolutely. For me, it's an absolute killer. But I'm basing that on the 3 issues as a whole, and not just this issue. But the absolute winner for me, as I say, is the artwork. That's worth the attendance money on its own.
And so this is one comic. So this came out months and months ago on Comixology. So when we picked this issue number 1, we was going based on the trades that were coming out. Whereas all 3 of us could have gone, right, what we'll do, we'll read the whole thing on Comixology and then we'll review it when it comes out. After reading issue number 1, I was like, I so need to read issue number 2 on Comixology, and same in issue number 3. I didn't know, held out. Issue number 1 was great. Issue 2 was great. For me, it's exactly the same as what you're saying. Issue number 2, what's he called? The big guy? Capullo. Gus. Gus. In issue number 2, he lost it. Like, he couldn't take the halo off without losing it, and it took near enough 6 or 7 pages to get him back in and calm him down again. All of a sudden, he takes it off and he's fine. All of a sudden, he's found his zen and he can deal with it. I thought they could have played on the story of that a lot more. Like, okay, like last issue, we found out about Gus's family and stuff, and it was quite emotional how it all tied in and stuff. But it could have been 4 or 5 issues, this book, and I think it deserved to be. I think because there's more that you could find out about it. It just seemed like an open and shut case. Get the halo, get the horn, done, save the world. Then at the end of the comic, you've got Gus and Lamb standing there saying, right, choose your weapon. Choose your weapon. Choose what. And that was kind of like a computer game moment for me. Like, oh, you've just passed the first level. Now pick your gun, like your weapon, and go off and do it. But what happens after that? Like, is it gonna carry on? Like, I'm intrigued to it, but I would like to see that in a different issue instead of a different arc.
And they also seem to get new costumes, like with 3 pages to go to the end of the book, which seemed incredibly unnecessary. I don't know what the point of that was, but I think the positives far outweighed any sort of negatives or gripes that I had with this book over the 3 issues. So, killer.
I think I'm going to have, based on this issue, it wouldn't be a killer for me, but based on it as a whole,
Monster.
It's a killer.
You've got too much horn, Charlie. Far too much horn.
Talking about too much horn, I'm going to say this is a killer.
Winking at me from here.
So yeah, this is maybe a killer. Over 3 issues is a killer, but that's that. So digital. So all of us kind of agreed that digital issue number 1 should deserve its place on the Killer Comic Show, and what an absolutely great choice. So, Tom, you've been mentioning this for a couple of months, and I think it just fell by the wayside.
Yeah, I actually know Rich quite well. So, Rich mentioned it to me last year when I was doing Not Quite Mint. I meant to do it. I meant to get around to it. I mentioned to you guys a couple of times about doing it. And, you just kind of get wrapped up in real life and stuff gets put to one side and bits. But Tim mentioned it again last week on the show, so I thought I'd bring it back up with the guys, and we thought, yeah, why not? Let's do it. Volume 2's just come out, so let's do Volume 1. We'll then do Volume 2, and then we'll help the Kickstarter for Volume 3 so we can get it out there, guys, because it is fantastic, and it's amazing that these guys have put this all together. So you've got Rich Watkins and Zachary Hanna on writing, and you've got Flavolo Pop on the artwork for this. And yeah, it's amazing. I think it's I'll tell you what, I'll give you my review after you guys have done yours. So let's start with the Oracle. I think the Oracle should go first.
Oh dear, no pressure. Listen, Rich sent me a message saying, do you want to have a read at this? Here's issue number 1 and number 2. Now, I've not read issue number 2. I want to savour it so that my review is just focused entirely on this. My first reaction to this is, why have I not heard about this before? Like, why? And I felt actually annoyed after reading the comic because, I dug a little bit deeper and I seen that Rich and the guys have, well into issue 2. They've got funded through Kickstarter, and they were also at Thought Bubble last year. And I just felt like I've missed an opportunity here to get to find out more about this. So I think the lesson learned that I have from all of this before I go into the review is that, if anybody out there is doing a Kickstarter for a comic or wants us to review or read it, then drop it into our inboxes, DM us or whatever you need to do, and we'll be more than happy, because as much as we like to do the indie, the DC and all the rest of it, it's this create our own stuff, because these guys are doing what we would love to do. We've all imagined, and maybe even Tom's going to be doing it very soon, but we've all imagined writing a comic, doing the artwork, doing the colour work, and just getting something out there. And these guys are doing that. They're living the dream effectively. So kudos to those guys for doing that first and foremost. The synopsis for this book is that the last 3 free humans stared down at Earth from space. To return would mean certain death. Their only option is what lies beyond, which I love. It's kind of a short and sweet, doesn't give too much away. Now, this Kickstarter, they were trying to raise £2,500, I believe it was, and I think they get 140 backers, and they raised over £3,200. So that tells you everything you need to know. They had the support, and that's not an easy thing to do. So that kind of tells you, that there's definitely enough interest in this book. Let me see what it's all about. Issue number 1, you open that first page and you're dropped literally right into the middle of a battle scene. And the first thing that took my breath away was the quality of the artwork, the colour work. This didn't feel, and this is no disrespect to Kickstarter books, but there's levels here, there's quality levels here. This book could have had an Image publisher badge on it, and I wouldn't have taken a second guess. I wouldn't have been surprised. It could have even had any of the other indie publishers on it, but it didn't. This is creator owned. This is a Kickstarter book, and we become aware in that first panel how kind of that desperate situation that these guys find them in, and it's as the story develops, it's clear that they actually don't know each other, and they're 3 very distinct characters, a little bit like us here, and it's like they all have their own qualities, but they also have their own what's the word I'm looking for, downfalls. And it almost feels, and you didn't get too much yet in this issue, and that's why I'm really looking forward to issue 2, is that we'll find out a little bit more about these characters' dynamic. And I almost feel as if these characters will end up helping each other. So the qualities that each of them have will be able to help the downfall of the issues that some of them are dealing with. This is full on, like, I get if you like Saga, like a lot of people go, well, what's it like? What would you liken it to? If you've read Saga, I get pure Brian K. Vaughan vibes from this book. I don't know if you guys did. That's the kind of a feeling that I got. There's essences of Alien. There's definitely like Alien fans who have been involved in this, because you've got little like even some of the panel work at the end of this issue, which we won't spoil. At the end of this issue, there's a particular page, and it just felt as if I was watching one of the Alien movies, which is a good thing, an absolute good thing. As I say, the artwork was fantastic. The first couple of pages has distinct lettering in it, and I'd be really interested to see what Tom thought about this in particular. I found that lettering sometimes hurt my eyes when I was trying to read it, and it almost slowed down the pace that I think they were trying to achieve in the first couple of pages of this book. So that was my only small criticism of it, is that the lettering, it's kind of that scratchy writing. I kind of had to slow down and sort of read it 2 or 3 times before I could understand what it was actually saying. But I can understand why it was used, because it was very in keeping with the vibe and the theme of the story. I'm going to let the other guys go into the middle of the book and the ending of the book. But for me, I just like to say hats off to all the creators. I don't need to say nice things about this book. I don't need to say nice things about the creators. I'm very, very honest when it comes to my reviews, maybe a little bit too honest sometimes. But I just like to say thanks to Tim Hobgoblin for pointing us in the direction of these guys. Thanks to Rich for sending the books, which we will be doing a giveaway. I've not thought what we're going to do, but we will be giving these books away. And hats off to you guys. You're living the dream. You're doing what you need to do. And for me, this book this was beyond a killer for me, because this book is a Kickstarter, and it doesn't have the same support and the same market and the same PR drive as all the other books I've got. And it's doing all this on the back of hard work and putting the grind in, going to the conventions and putting the books in front of people's noses. So for me, this was a very special killer book for me, and I would urge everybody to go and give it a read.
So Tom's obviously going to give his review, but I have to say, you could drop this in a comic book shop with Image and Dark Horse and stuff like that, and it ain't out of place. The artwork is phenomenal. I love the story, and I can't believe we didn't see this at Thought Bubble. I'm actually quite gutted that we didn't see this at Thought Bubble.
If Rich is watching, or one of the guys, are you thinking about going to Thought Bubble this year? I'd be really interested to see if you're getting a table to promote digital issue number 2. Let us know.
I don't really have any words for this comic. I seriously enjoyed it. I thought the artwork was incredible. I thought that the writing and the narrative and the character direction and the evolution of the story and the characters and everything behind it was amazing. And I just have to take my hat off, because Kickstarter books, some fail, some don't take off, some aren't as good as others. This is amazing. Like, as an indie Kickstarter comic, for me, this is probably one of the best ones that I've read. That's my own preference, and that's mine. But you can see that in how much it's been backed. Do you know what I mean? And I really do think this is a really enjoyable comic. And if people have backed it and they've got the issues of it and they've been able to read it, you're going to enjoy it, because it's great. It really, really is. The one thing I do have, and it's just a small thing, was one of the characters with the stutter. I found that sometimes it was a bit too much. It was like that, like he'd be talking, it was like but, and I think they could have done that down a tiny little bit. But I think the way that it's been done, and it's so in depth with all the characters, you kind of feel at one with them, if that makes sense. So you would see how he is dealing with his stutter and stuff like that, and that's how close the writing and the artwork is with the characters, to make the reader feel involved with the character and how it's going and stuff. But overall, I've read issue number 1, I've read issue number 2, and I'm dying to read issue number 3 because this story has just gone from strength to strength. Reading issue number 1, I was like chomping at the bit to read issue number 2. Reading issue number 2 with what happened in it. I'm not going to go into it, but I need to read issue number 3. And to get that from a Kickstarter comic is amazing. This has all been done. Do you know what I mean? This has all been done singly. And to get this out there, massive hats off to you guys for doing this. So congratulations. And I'm looking forward to reading issue number 3. Tom.
Yeah, so I literally, Andy and Charlie have said everything that I was basically going to say about this book. I read this as soon as Rich sent it to me last year, so I've been sitting on this one for quite some time, and I would totally agree with what you guys said. I think, for me, I would 100%, if I saw this on a shelf, I'd pick it up and I'd read it, because what the guys have done with this is they've managed to take an amateur comic book using Kickstarter. They've created, let's not beat around the bush. It is an amateur comic book. It's written by an amateur. It's drawn by an amateur. Everything is done by an amateur. However, it's put in such a professional way and done so professionally that I personally would think this was a proper published indie comic on a shelf from Image or Boom or like Dark Horse. I would be fooled into that. And that's because of the quality of work that the guys have put into it. And I think the story it's a very similar story to what we've had before, you know, AI is taking it over and a bit alien-esque, and they go out to outer space and stuff. But it felt familiar, but it felt new. And I liked that they did that. They took something familiar that we would know and something that people would relate to and they've seen before, and they just put their own little spin on it. And I really like that. And I'm a real sucker for this kind of then and now book, where like they'll start with like the now, and then they'll show the bit of backstory, and then you're back straight to now. I like that. And what Andy was saying about the second and third panels in, where they give you the text about what's happened, and it's a little bit gritty, a bit grimy, and a bit like it's been spray painted on a wall. Yeah. And I do think, like Andy said, it is totally intentional for you to slow down, take time and care to read it, because they're only giving you 2 pages to give you the backstory of what's happened to the human race. And I think they're really clever in the way they've done that, because we reviewed a book last week called Buttercup. And during reading Buttercup, there was so much bombarded in, and that you had to remember, and there was this universe over here and that universe over there, and this all happened and everything exploded in that kind of book, that it was overwhelming. This gives you 2 pages of quite clear what happens in a very methodical way, in a very intense way, that you already know what's going to happen. You already know what's happening. Like you're 4 pages in, and you've already know the human race has been beaten by AIs. And I think that's really clever, really well done. The artwork is incredible. It really lends itself to the writing style on this. I really, really like the artwork. I thought the colors were good. The panel work is incredible. I mean, we talk about panel work a few times on the show. My particular favorite panel, I think for me, is a little bit later on in the book, where they're searching the ship, and you've got them all together at the top, kind of like hunched over in like almost like an Expendables pose. I think that's pretty cool. I love the other panel where it's like a brick wall, and it's the text is spray painted on the back for you. Yeah. That's really clever. I just think it's really well put together for like some guys putting a comic book together that you know, are doing what we've all wanted to do, and I've just like, right, yeah, come on, let's do it. Let's put it on Kickstarter. Let's start this journey together. I think they've done a fantastic job. It almost is like they've been working together for years, I would say. It just feels so natural, and I really like the story. I can't wait to see what happens in issue 2. I have actually read issue 2, so I could give you my opinion on that. I love the way that this book ends, and I like that it opens up this kind of thing in your mind, because as you read the book, when the ship shoots off, it's like there's 3 humans and 1 unidentified object. And then later on in the book, they find something else. Well, they find something else. I don't want to give it away. I don't want to give it away in case you haven't read it, but they find something else on the ship Now, that then puts into question as what is the inanimate object and where is the inanimate object, if you like. So that really plays on your mind. I thought it was really good. It is 100% a killer from me. And I'd like to, if I could, I would definitely put this in my top 5 books that I've read this year. And if I could, at the end of the year, if I still feel the same, I would definitely give this the golden seal of killer from me. Because I think it's that good. And not just because it's a good comic. It's the work that's gone into it. Like you said, like these guys have gone around the comic book, gone around like the circuit, drilling it, throwing it around. But it's gone under a lot of people's radars. Like Andy, I mean, I have mentioned it a couple of times to the guys, but it has gone under the radar. These guys have only got 2,000 followers on Instagram, which is an absolute shame. And they need more. So I would say to you guys, if you're watching this, go and support them. Follow them on Instagram, share them with your friends. If you don't like the book, I would still share it with your friends and get them to read it. Give their honest opinion, because it all helps. Positive, negative, as long as it's constructive criticism, these guys will take it. We all love constructive criticism as long as it's constructive. So I would go out. Go on, mate. Carry on.
I was just going to say, to tie into what you've done, if the review of issue 1 isn't enough, we've also got this for you as well, so I'll play it now.
Nice.
Now, let's be honest, right? If Boom Studio was to drop that, everyone's going, oh my god, look, a new comic from Boom Studio. This needs people's attention. This is amazing.
Yes.
Like, this is far better than what Kickstarter deserved. Do you know what I mean? This is so great. So I can't push this comic enough. And we're not on commission, but this comic's awesome.
No.
So pick it up.
We've put Tom, you've put the Kickstarter link in, you put the Instagram link in as well. So go check the guys out, go give them a follow and all that good stuff. But yeah, fair play, guys. All I can say is it's thanks for bringing this to my attention. And as I said at the start, if there is other books out there or other Kickstarters that people think that we should be reading, then just let us know.
I'll just say one more
100%.
thing, guys, right? If you're interested in getting this as a comic book or you want to buy it, head over to their Instagram and just hit them up. They will sort you out with an issue or a copy. I'm sure they will.
Well, one of you in the chat could be in the chance of winning it, and we will find out. I'm letting Andy think about how he's going to do this, and then we'll announce at the end of the show. But yeah, so one of you could actually win that. So that's a killer from me. So 4 out of 4 killers is always a good way to do the show. Is it a killer from you guys? I assume it is.
Yeah,
100%.
100%. So before we move on to the next section of the show, let's have a quick look at the Who Wins cover of the week. So in third place is Tom with the Poison Ivy Danmore at 29%. In second place is Charlie with the Poison Ivy Sherdsey at 31%. And Andy has literally just taken over and is Jock Batman at 42%. I don't know if Andy's just jumped on his 27 other accounts, but that's just shot up quite significantly. But there we go.
I was winning like 10 minutes ago.
That's the power of Jock, I guess. That is definitely the power of Jock.
Jock's full
there
of
we go.
porn.
Guys, don't be salty. Don't be salty.
But did anyone notice that Andy went off and his screen went black, and then he came back and he was winning? I think Andy works in computers, so I think he's been doing a bit of a technological warfare.
You really want to know why I left for 1 minute 35 seconds?
No, we don't. No, we don't. But this show's just great. When you get comments like this, when you get like the chat buzzing and stuff like that, it's been great. So, moving on.
Well, if you just quickly, Charlie, before you move on, if you just show Team King's MF comment. He's just said if you DM them, they'll sort you out with a copy.
There we go.
Awesome.
There we go. Absolutely amazing. So, thank you, guys. So, up next, we have...
Killer indies. This is where I get to take over, Charlie. You sit back, relax.
Yes.
Nice. This is Perpetual's Killer Indies June 15. So this is for next week, guys. Disregard that Instagram, disregard that Twitter. Don't worry about that. Just make sure that you are heading to these guys' Twitters and Instagrams and stuff like that and go and follow them. First up is Grimm issue number 2. This completely passed me, guys. I think I might have been the week I was sick when he's done Grimm issue number 1. I could be imagining that. But listen, this has had a lot of heat, this book. So this is by Boom Studios, written by Stephanie Phillips and art by Flaviano Armentaro. Yeah, I hope I got that right. Oh, there we go. Is that the foil as well, Charlie?
That's the one of 3 foils I picked up for issue number 1.
Nice. So issue number 2, Jessica Harrow finds herself trapped between the worlds of the living and the dead, something that no other Reaper has ever experienced. Just what makes her so special? Can she make her way back to the afterlife? And what exactly is going to happen now that she can walk amongst the living? So you guys read it. Would you recommend picking up issue number 2?
Yes, mate, 100%. Really good book. Really good premise.
I was going to say, are one of you guys maybe going to pick this for one of the weeks? I know you're away, Tom, but you're going to maybe pick this? Yeah. Nice. So that's Grimm issue number 2. Next up is another familiar one for anybody who's watched our previous shows. This is Slumber issue number 4 by Image Comics. This is written by Tyler Burton-Smith and artwork is by Vanessa Cardinale. Again, I think we've covered every single issue of this. It's a favourite of yours, Charlie, in particular. I know that's what you've picked. So this is issue number 4, and Valkyrie lays a trap both inside of Finch's dreams and in waking life, forcing Stetson and Finch into a game of cat and mouse on both sides of the dream door in order to uncover Valkyrie's true agenda. So I think this is 5 issues in total. Mm-hmm. So I think we're getting to the end of this, guys, but definitely worth a pick up, and I've no doubt Charlie will probably pick this as his pick of the week. Next up, again, another one that's familiar to us is 8 Billion Genies. This is issue number 2. Image Comics, written by Charles Soule and art by Ryan Brown. Again, I think this was in the week that I was off, so I didn't get a chance to read this, but I know that a lot of people enjoyed it. And issue number 2, the premise says 8 billion genies have appeared on Earth with one wish for everyone on the planet. We've seen the first 8 seconds after the genies arrived, and the first 8 minutes. Now brace yourself for the first 8 hours, when many insane and foolish and wonderful wishes are made, and our heroes, a group of lovely people stuck in a dive bar in Detroit, try to survive the growing wish-pocalypse, which I like that term, wish-pocalypse. And I loved your guys' review of issue number 1. It definitely made me more inclined to go and pick it up and give it a read. So if you didn't catch that, catch the rewind on, I can't remember which week it was.
If we do end up doing issue 2, if we do decide to do issue 2, we should 100% the 3 of us come to the table with what our wish would be.
Nice. And let's open it up to the viewers as well. What's their wish going to be? That's a good shout, Tom. Yeah, I like that.
It could be a really good, thought-provoking / good chat.
Yeah,
We can see how
Or-
selfish we all are.
I was going to say we might need some more counselling after it. One of the two, I don't know.
And he's going to be like, I wish we hadn't have reviewed Closet because it's caused me serious mental issues.
exactly. So yeah, that's so those first three are issues that are familiar to the people that normally watch the show because we've reviewed them. The one after this is another one, Alice Ever After, issue number 3. So this is Boom Studios, and it's written by Dan Panassian and art by Giorgio Spalletta. And Alice has found refuge in the asylum, but she might not be as safe as she thinks. Will her time there mean being severed from the real world permanently? And what of the institution's suspicious funding and Dr. Madsen's quest for control through any means necessary? Things grow even curiouser back in Wonderland, though, as Alice meets two familiar figures who bear an uncanny resemblance to the orderlies of the asylum. I love that cover. I know this has been a favourite of yours, Charlie, as well. Picking up issue
I
number
love
3.
this. Yeah.
So
Definitely.
that's another one. I think I've got a couple more, guys. It was quite a hot week for indie books. So this is a brand new one. This is Seven Sons issue number 1. This is again through Image Comics, and it's a duo writing team of Robert Wyndham and Kelvin Mayo, and the art is by the superb Jay Lee. I think he does the interiors and all the covers for this. It's a very short and sweet synopsis. Delph, a young man who may be the second coming of Christ, runs for his life as he attempts to learn the truth behind his existence. Doesn't give much away. I know that on the previews catalogue, there was in the previews website, there seems to be a bit of a bit of buzz about this book, and I don't think you can go wrong with Jay Lee's artwork and interiors as well, because normally he only does cover art, so it'll be really interesting to see what the interiors are for this one.
And that's it, because that you did pick some more, but you and Tom did the same, so I kind of balanced it out, if that's okay.
Yeah, I guess so. No, I'm not joking. Yeah, no, good choice, Tom. That one that we both picked is an absolute fantastic pick. So again, guys, don't worry about my Instagram or Twitter, but make sure you go and follow Charlie and follow Tom, and go and subscribe to everybody that's in our chat, because they all have fantastic channels.
Okay, I've got to give a warning, because I have to give a warning now, because Connie's ears seem to blow if I don't give her a warning. So now we have another segment. There we go, Tom.
YouTube. So this is the Not Quite Minced Killer Keys, June 15th / June 14th. So you've got the DC books out in America, which come out on the 14th. Everything else comes out on the 15th. So first up is A Calculated Man. This is a first issue for Aftershock Comics. And this is a comic about a verifiable maths genius called Jack Beans. He used to run a number of used to run the numbers for the Pinofi crime family. So this is all about his story and how he goes a bit batshit and decides to go against the family. So yeah, could be worth picking up for that one. Artwork done by Alberto Jimenez and written by Paul Tobin. So
there's a lot of buzz about this one, Tom. A real lot of buzz about this. So I think this is definitely one that you should get your LCS to pre-order, because I don't know how many will be on the shelf. So
yeah, and also like on Key Collectors, they're saying that although this is a first ever issue, this has already gone into the pipeline to be optioned. It's not been optioned yet, but it is in the pipeline to be optioned. That's why it's a key, because this could end up as either a TV show or a movie, and it hasn't even hit the shelves yet.
Right.
So the script is already out there, if you like.
This does look great, and I like the equations on the right hand side.
I like the colour.
That looks great. Yeah, I think it's great. Next, I'm so looking forward to this one.
Yeah, from Image, this one I'm really, really excited about, guys. This is Do a Powerbomb issue 1, written and artwork by Daniel Warren Johnson. And this one is about a character called Leon Steelrose, who wants to be a pro wrestler, but lives in the shadow of her mother. Her mother's success before her, but everything changes when a wrestling-obsessed necromancer asks Lona to join the grandest stage of all with the biggest cost. That sold. I read it. I sold me. I was like, I want to read this. I love old wrestling, so I really wanted to read this. But the fact that she's probably wrestling to keep her soul is probably quite an interesting thing. And again, this one is a key because again, they've written a script for it, so it could go forward to be a TV show or a movie at some point. So that again is why it's a key. This one I've already put because I'm not going to be here next week to do my pickups. So this is already a pick for me for sneak peek the following week.
Nice. I picked this in my indie picks as well for this week, and I think the Daniel Warren Johnson's artwork is going to really be fantastic all over wrestling because it's got that sort of scratchy sort of feel about it. I don't know if he's read Wonder Woman when he done those that artwork. All over this, and all the wrestling fans. I think Phil has said there that he's all over it. He loves the artwork, and obviously he's a big wrestling fan, so definitely want to check it.
That was Wonder Woman Dead Earth. Was it Dead Earth?
Yeah.
Dead Earth, yeah, that's right.
That was one of the best Wonder Woman comics I think I've ever read.
Yeah.
And this attracted me because one, I'm a massive wrestling fan. Two, this is very much like Casper Wingard, the comic what he's done. Tom, is it Get Home or Go
Homesick Pilots.
Homesick Pilots. This is very much like, and I'm just all for this. There's been quite a few wrestling comics out this year, and I'm very much looking forward to reading this one.
Yeah, definitely. I would 100%, guys. Like before we move on to the next two, because I think the next two are from Marvel or DC. I would 100% pick these two up over any other books this week, next week, like next week's books, purely because they're first issues. So they'll be worth picking up just to get you a taste of what the book's going to be about. And secondly, we probably will be reviewing both of them, so you guys get a chance to read along with us. And then thirdly, they've both been possibly optioned for a movie, so they could be worth a bit of money in the future. I mean, look at what's that one that came out? The Old Guard and Something to Kill in the Children. They both got optioned very early on, and no one thought anything of it until the books rocketed to hundreds and hundreds of pounds. This is only going to set you back £3. Just saying. And support your local comic shops.
What was the other, Phil will be able to answer this, what was the other horror-esque wrestling comic that came out this year?
Hell Cage.
You're talking about the one that's like Macbeth meets wrestling meets something else?
Yeah, so I'm hoping Phil will be able to answer this because Crimson Cage, there we go. See that straight off the bat, bosh. Nice.
I knew it was something Cage.
Crimson Cage is awesome. This is Do a Powerbomb. This is going to be wicked. So I'm definitely picking this up. And Tom, you mentioned this to me about a month ago, so I've kind of like already spoken to Johnny Galactic and like, add this to my pull list, please.
Yeah, I did the same.
So definitely pick that up if you're wrestling fans and you like English comics and you like DWJ, pick it up.
So that brings me on to the more mainstream kind of books. So we're looking at Marvel this time round, and this is Marvel's Spider-Man 29.9 Exodus issue 2, written by Steve Orland and artwork by Marco Castello. The cover art on this is by Ryan Stegman, and I actually really like this cover artwork. Now, this is a key, guys, because it's the first appearance and first cover appearance of Loki 29.9. It's the first time he's ever been in a book, ever. And going forward, he could be quite a significant character with all the multiverse thing. The fact that 29.9 Spider-Man is about to make his appearance in the next Spider-Verse movie. So could be quite a significant key to pick up if you're a flipper. Also, there is a first appearance of the 29.9 Avengers led by the 29.9 Moon Knight. That is going to be a cameo appearance at the end, but a couple of people who have read it and reviewed it or spoke about it said that it's that kind of Wolverine thing. Like, is it a cameo or is it a first appearance? Because it's a full appearance. So they're saying
180 versus 181.
Yeah. Is it a cameo or is it a full appearance? Well, in my opinion, I think if it's a full character shot, that's a full appearance. But they're saying if he doesn't say anything, then it's not a full appearance.
Meh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Next.
Next.
Yeah, and that brings me on to the final book, which is Spider-Gwen Gwenverse issue 3, written by Tim Seeley, artwork by Jody Nishnam. This is a first appearance of Gwen Captain America, basically. So this is worth picking up because obviously we're doing the whole multiverse thing. So if you get the first appearances of any brand spanking new character or a version of a Spider character, they're going to be worth something. My only gripe with these ones is the fact that they're doing the Miles Morales at the same time. So you get the What If Miles Morales and these, and it's just too many first appearances going on. At the moment. I personally think this one is more worth picking up than anything else because I have no doubt that the Captain America version of Gwen Stacy will become a bit more successful than any of the other ones, just because people love a version of Captain America and everyone loves Gwen Stacy. So why would you not pick it up?
This cover looks amazing. This is obviously by David
Nakayama.
Nakayama. Yes, it's amazing. Like I would pick it up just for this cover. I haven't read issues 1 or 2, but I would pick it up just for this cover because it's great. Tom, you've smashed the Killer Keys out this week, mate. Well done.
Well, the problem I had for this week's Killer Keys, I really just wanted to talk about do a power bomb, so I almost just did one and discarded the rest. Next time I might just do that. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the Marvel comics, when you get the keys and it's a first appearance, I feel like I have to tell you about them. However, I'm not just telling you about them willy-nilly. It's just because they're a first appearance. But yeah. Guys, feel free to follow me on Instagram. I am not going to be very active for the next couple of weeks because after the show tonight, that is it. I won't be around for 2 weeks because I'm off to Cornwall to get married.
But any excuse.
Feel free to follow me on both my art page, which I've got some very exciting announcements to make on my art page coming up. I am actually starting to look at my own book. So I would like to share with you the concept art of my characters and stuff. So that should be quite interesting. And then on the Not Quite Mint page, I'm actually going to share my comic book collection with you guys. So yeah, again, could be worth following me for that because I have a lot of unique J. Scott Campbell covers. I've got a lot of unique Dan Mora covers as well that I'd love to share with you all. So yeah, please feel free to follow me. And also subscribe and like this show, guys. And if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the dingly bell so you don't miss any of our content, and leave us that thumbs up. Why not?
What a professional.
Absolutely.
Somebody's got his mojo back.
Indeed, I love this section of the show. I love the Killer Keys because it makes me pick up comics I wouldn't have thought.
Well, the Killer Keys love you. And thanks for having us.
Thank you very much. And on that note, it's now part for the Killer Trades.
Oh, well, hold on. No income tax, no VAT.
We still don't have that video.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
I mean, what have you got to do apart from organise a wedding and stuff? Come on now, Tom.
Yeah, and save lives and do a day job and
any excuse. So I
will be working on it on my honeymoon.
No, you won't. No,
you'll be working.
You won't.
Yeah.
I said working on it. I didn't say this. I didn't say what.
Oh my god. There we go. Look, all the best for the wedding, Tom. Look, there you go.
Thank you, Leon.
Very well.
Much appreciated.
So this is Killer Trades for June 15th again. So up first is Tom.
Oh, me. Sorry. Yes, I was reading the comments. So yeah, I picked House of Slaughter Volume 1 trade paperback. It is 136 pages of glorious James Tynion for $14.99 with artwork by Weather Del Area. Comes out on June the 15th, and this is the collection, guys, of the first compendium part of House of Slaughter. So all 5 issues are one standalone story, and then he's going to do issues 6 to 10 will be another standalone story. And this story is based around I've forgotten his name now. I'll have to read it in the thing. What's his name?
Aaron.
It's all about Aaron. He's the character who was in Something's Killing the Children, who is Erica Slaughter's essentially adopted brother. So this is all about him and his relationship with another character, and the fact that he is a gay man in this kind of like world that he lives in. It's all about him, and like he gets sent to kill his first love. So if you haven't read it, guys, I would 100% recommend it. First issue was quite strong. Second issue kind of wavered off, but after that, it gets very interesting and very quite like mind bending. So I would definitely 100% recommend picking up these first this trade paperback because it was very much well worth it. Thank you.
Let's be honest. It's written by Tynion. It ties in with Something's Killing the Children. But I think a lot of people were like, how can you have two books, like the fantastic and the amazing Something's Killing the Children, and have House of Slaughter? As Tom said, issues number 1 was great, 2 and 3 were kind of flat, and then it picks up again. This was kind of a sleeper. I don't think many people continued reading it, but I've read every single issue, and it just gets better and better. And there's something coming. There's something, it's going to tie in.
Yes.
In some way, shape, or form. It's going to tie into Something is Killing the Children. And it's going to be explosive, and it's going to be amazing. And yes, I think if you haven't read them already, pick up the trade, because I've just got a feeling there's going to be some like hidden extras in there. There probably might, but I just think the way that the story's been going for the 5 issues, I think there might be something extra in the trade paperback.
What I always like about the trade paperbacks is they always put in like the covers, or the covers that didn't make it, or a bit of concept art. And I'd be very surprised if this didn't have some like scripts that didn't make it. And I love that, what James Tynion does that.
Or it'll have like an advertisement for some other related book that. Yeah.
And just to mention that this is Boom Studios, not Image.
Oh yeah, sorry.
It's okay. You're getting married. You're getting married.
The thing is, right, I can't read or write, so that's my excuse.
Getting married, can't read or write, saves lives, has a day job. You're my hero.
And I tell you what,
he's a
Tom,
hero.
You're getting a lot of love. All the best for the wedding. Oh my God, good luck for the wedding, Tom. I hope everything goes well. He's marrying me and Charlie. Wish us luck. And then ABZ said, my honeymoon was driving a minibus around Scotland with about 12 US family members who travelled to the wedding. How romantic. And then we had honeymoon tour guide. And Connie has now confused me. Isn't this out already? What did I buy? I feel like I already own the House of Slaughter Volume 1. Maybe I think Something's Killing the Children Volume 4.
I didn't think it was out.
Well, to be fair, I think
it was definitely on League of Comic Geeks for this week.
Yeah. And ABZ has always, and actually, yeah, Edvic said check the stack. Yeah, so check the stack by your bed where your Lucasade is probably, or your Red Bull is probably standing right about now, Connie. ABZ said, anyone read The Woods by Tynion? I have picked up most of the run, but want to complete it first before binge reading. Have you reviewed it?
Yes, I've read it. Yeah, we featured that for the James Tynion profile thing that we've done.
Bubble. Yep.
Yeah.
And Connie has said, I'm not home for another 2 weeks, so I can't check to see what I'm thinking about. There we go. That's great. But yeah, this is looking forward to reading this. So then up next is.
Oh, good choice.
This was you, wasn't it? Yeah, I forgot that. So I went a little bit different for what I would normally pick for trades and stuff like that. And I've always wanted to get into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. A lot of our fellow comic community friends enjoy the turtle, as it were. So this is the best.
Turtle head.
Do you know when you say something and you've said it and you just can't take it back?
Just pops out.
Well, you know,
or doesn't in this respect.
Oh my God! So IDW Publishing is bringing out the best of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Collection Volume 1 trade paperback. It's 408 pages. I mean, that is a massive bit of turtle.
That's a massive turtle head, that.
And it's $29.99, and it's going to be in shops on June the 15th. So this collects the 4 micro-series issues published by Mirage Comics and the 4 Raphael, Donatello, Leonardo, and Michelangelo micro-series and macro-series issues published by IDW. Do you know the problem with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? There's too much Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They are the Green Turtle of X-Men books. There's too many X-Men books, too many Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Well, you say that, right? But the most recent run that IDW have done, where they've slightly changed the universe around, I know there's like nearly 200 issues. It is amazing, and there's not a lot of like other books you have to read to be able to know what's going on.
I liked what IDW did with the individual ones of like the Casey Jones, the Raphael, the Splinter, Shredder.
Yeah, it was the biggie
I know
covers.
Tom's got them all, haven't you, mate?
I do, mate. Yeah. I collect the Ninja Turtles hardbacks, the collector's editions.
Awesome. But yeah, this is a great one. I was glad when you picked this because again, this would have just gone under the radar.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nice.
Then I went for a DC one, Crush and Lobo. I like Lobo. I think he's a great character, and I kind of think this comic as single issues kind of just floated around. No one was really interested in it. So this is obviously written by Mariko Tamiyaki, and the artwork is Amanke Nahulempan. I'm going to go with that.
Say that again.
Anake. We haven't heard that since my 12 o'clock comic releases, have we? So
Rest
yeah,
in
this is rest in pieces. This is 208 pages at 19.99, and this is obviously so. Crush was in the Teen Titans. She's recently left, and she's realised that the time's come to an end, and she's now teaming up with Lobo. So this basically ties in issues Crush and Lobo issues number 1 to 8, and yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this. This isn't something that I'd like to read, but Lobo is a good character. That was harder to say than Wakazashi. I'm going to go Amanke Nahulempan. There we go.
Ooh.
There we go. But yeah, this is DC. I've gone for this because Lobo is a character that I'd like to like more about. I like him, but I want to learn more about him. And then I think if you can learn about that, I'm reading Teen Titans and Teen Titans Academy. So this kind of seems to go hand in hand with that. So
I'm a massive Lobo fan. I've got most of these single issues and stuff like that.
Andy, then you have to come to Nice Comic Con because Simon Bisley attends every year.
Oh yeah, that's the Biz is fantastic. I've met him a few times. He's
also a fucking legend. Like he does not. I mean, he's a bit of an arse, but I like that about him. I think that's the best part about him.
Any time I've met him, he's been absolutely superb. He's always sign as many comics as you want. You know, likes to have a chat and likes to have a beer as well. So it's all good.
Is this? I want to know whether or not this is Bisley on the cover of this. To be fair, very Bisley.
That is. I don't know. I think it might be a duo. I don't think it's if maybe Bisley's done like the pencils, but I think it might be a duo. But I'm not too sure.
Simon Bisley, right, has done the best Raphael drawing I've ever seen.
Okay.
So you have to Google it and find it. It's insane.
It'd be great if he went to Thought Bubble. That'd be awesome.
I don't know if he does. Yeah. I'm very, very good friends with Jeff Cardill, who runs Nice. So yeah, I think if you guys can make it to Nice, we should do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Speaking of Thought Bubble, we need to get our thinking hats on because we're 5 months before we head over. So I believe there's some profiles and spotlights that need to happen, and some guest appearances that we'll need to cross the T's, dot the I's.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think we will. Definitely. So that's Crush and Lobo, and I also went for this one, Catwoman of East End. So this is 1,064 pages, coming in at £100. Of course, it wouldn't be a trade about East End, would it? This is written by Ed Brubaker, and the art is by Javier Pulido. And this basically, the premise of this is the many lives of DC's famous feline fatale collected in incredible omnibus edition, collecting Detective Comics 759 to 762, Catwoman 1 to 37, Catwoman Secret Files issue number 1, and Catwoman Selina's Big Score. I would actually, out of all the trades, this one and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle one, I would love to pick up and actually read, because I think you know about Catwoman, but I don't think people know that much about Catwoman.
Listen, I'm from the East End of Glasgow, and I have never seen a Catwoman like that.
You ain't seen the East End of London, boy.
Yo.
But yeah, I think there's it's pretty lackluster on the trades, but I think we've picked the best of a bad bunch this week, to be fair.
It's weird. Some weeks are really you've got top quality stuff, and then it feels like when it comes to trades, if there's 3 or 4 of things that come out that haven't been out for like years and years, you just know that it's relating to a movie, and it's a cash grab as opposed to getting people to read the story and stuff like that. But I can't wait till Tom does his manga feature when he comes back from his wedding.
Well, I literally just talk about One Piece for 20 minutes.
Hey, just speaking of your piece, One Piece.
I mean, because I think after you did the manga section, Tom.
Yes, mate.
I think after you did the manga section, Tom, it worked really well. So, yeah, that'd be great.
We can do that.
Definitely. So that is all the trades for this week. And now it's back over to Andy for the final order cut-off #killer picks for June the 13th.
Final order cut-off. So first of all, thanks to everybody who commented and sort of dropped me a message on last week's final order cut-off segment. It seemed to go down really, really well. And I think there was a few books in there that people didn't realise were coming out. And that was the whole premise of us doing it for this part of the show. It's so that you don't miss out the books, and those hashtag flippers don't make lots and lots of money from you. So what I try to do is keep it to I think I've maybe done about my top 5 books here for a final order cut off. Maybe Charlie, I can't remember. So these are the final order cut off that's due this Monday coming. So any of these books, please make sure that you speak to your local comic shop to get them ordered. First up, I've went for Impact Winter. This is a book from Image Comics. This is just a one shot, and it only comes in at $4.99, which is not bad for a one shot book. I believe this is due out July 6th in the shops. Now, obviously, all these dates that I'm giving you guys are subject to change because you know what it's like. We've been waiting on books for 3 or 4 weeks. Did Triskelly come out? Did anybody see Triskelly?
No.
No, it didn't come out. No, I didn't think so. If anybody sees Triskelly on their journey, could you please let
out either?
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. So this is.
I spoke to David Byrne regarding Triskelly, and he said, "Yep, store should have it." I went on to Forbidden Planet, didn't have it. A Place in Space didn't have it, and Galactic Comics didn't have it. But he said Diamond have confirmed that it was delivered and it was released.
Okay.
Really?
So I haven't been able to find it on Comics.
Put it this way, I made a Diamond order before I quit Not Quite Mint, and I still haven't had it.
Listen, it better be good. Put it that way. It'll be worth the wait. I'm hoping. So yeah, I'm just looking at the chat here. So Double O is saying Triskelly is definitely out.
Maybe US only.
Maybe I'm not too sure. But anyway, back to FOC. Impact Winter issue number 1 shot. This is written by Travis Beecham and art is by Stephen Green and Matt Hollingworth. You'll see that I've included the code there. So that's the code that if you give that to your local comic shop, they'll be able to get the book absolutely no problem ordered up for you. And as I say, it's due in the shop July 6th. So it's been 1 year since a comet hit Earth and blotted out the sun. Now the world is a dark, cold landscape ruled by vampires. In the British countryside, a band of survivors have formed a resistance in the fallout shelter of a medieval castle. Among them is Darcy, a young, headstrong fighter waiting for the chance to prove she can be on the front lines. But when that opportunity comes, Darcy will come face to face with the true horrors of this new world. All I heard was vampires, guys, and I was all in.
Yeah.
So I think this might be one to pick up. And again, it's from Image, and they very rarely, I think it's an Image Skybound book, so they very rarely disappoint. So that's Impact Winter issue number 1, and it's just a one shot, guys. So next up, we have.
I think it might end up on the keys.
Oh. Hashtag spoiler. Next up, we've got Absolution issue number 1. This is from the fantastic AWA Upshot, and this is written by Peter Milligan and art by Mike Diodato. This is only $3.99. Most AWA Upshot books are. And again, this is roughly going to be in the shops about July 6th, but keep an eye out because that might change. The synopsis for this is Nina Ryan was a hired killer who brought nothing but pain and suffering to the world. Now she has a month to prove that she can change, a month to make up for her crimes and find absolution, or the bombs that have been implanted in her head will explode, killing her instantly. As her journey of atonement is live streamed to a fickle public, Nina is about to discover that the road to redemption might be splattered with blood. Come on, guys. If that doesn't sell a book, nothing will. Please.
That sounds great.
What do you think? I think that sounds absolutely fantastic. Again, because this is a Upshot, guys, it's probably not going to be readily available on at your LCS. So make sure that you get it ordered up. That would be.
It's very much like a Metal Gear Solid video game type of cover.
Yeah, it's got that
Total Recall and Total Recall type of thing.
It looks like a movie poster. Yeah,
it's got like a what's that?
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. That's what I was looking at.
Yeah.
It's got Blade Runner vibes about it. So that's Absolution issue number 1. Next up, my favourite, and I think this is going to be a key. So watch this space. This is from Ablaze.
Yeah.
Maybe Tom. Yeah. And this is
no spoilers.
No spoilers. Sorry about that. We should talk before we do this. This is Prometheus 1313 issue number 1. Now this is written by Andy Diggle, and the artwork is by Sean Martinborough. Again, only $3.99 and due out July 6th. So this book, I don't know if you remember, guys, at Thought Bubble, Jock was giving away posters, and this was the poster he was giving away. So Jock does cover A for all the issues, and he does a virgin cover for each of these issues. So for any fellow Jock fans like myself, that might be something that you want to go and check out. Yep. I have this on my pull list because I love the work that Andy Diggle does. And normally when Andy Diggle and Jock work together, it's like, you know, Capullo and Snyder. So I'm not going to read that whole premise. I'm going to let you guys read it for yourselves or watch it and read it in the rewind. But needless to say, it's UFOs, it's space, and it's based on the best-selling, award-winning prequel to Prometheus. So I would highly recommend you guys go and check that out.
Spaceships, aliens, and Atlantis.
Oh, sold. Take my money. Take my absolute. I ordered up the Virgin cover of this book, so it doesn't have the 1313. And hopefully Jock's going to be at Thought Bubble this year because I think it'll be a fantastic book to get signed. So
yeah,
just for me.
Just get it to put the 1313 in for you.
Oh, get in.
This is definitely on my key list.
I've been waiting for this day.
I've not been as this excited for a book in a long while. And this is Batman issue number 125. Now I just went for cover A on this book. Can I just say, and I know you know I'm biased, but check out the Jock cover for this. It's phenomenal. So this is written by Chip Zdarsky. He's taken over, guys, and I have all the faith in the world that he's going to take over and he's going to do the Batman that we all deserve. This is the artwork is by George Jimenez, and superstar writer Chip Zdarsky joins legendary artist George Jimenez to define a new era in Batman. Bruce Wayne is at a turning point, haunted by dreams of a dark future, while Gotham City billionaires are being gruesomely murdered. With the discovery of an archenemy's involvement. Thank you. And a tragedy unfolding. The Dark Knight's nightmares are just beginning. Failsafe starts here. And then there's a backup story as well, which I'm not always that keen on. I'd rather just have more of the main story. But guys, are you all in for this? I know I am.
100%.
Me too.
100%.
I just thought, hold on, can I just point out the fact that I'm dyslexic? You guys can read, and I could read the fact that it said arch enemy.
All right, show off.
Just saying.
No,
I'm wild chuffed with myself.
You're all proud. You're all proud.
Well done, Tom. Well done, mate.
This is going to be an absolute winner. I think I'm so looking for, and inevitably one of us will pick this just to see if it's as good as we all think it's going to be.
Yeah, definitely. I would 100%.
I love my
Andy on this one because it is worth buying it now because it is a key, and I'm going to give you that now because in a couple of weeks I will be talking about it. But it is a key for a couple of significant reasons. There's 3 first appearances, and it's the first time Chip Zdarsky is writing Batman. So it is worth doing it because he's already people are already talking about the fact that he's going to be going down in history as one of the best Batman writers. He hasn't even written a book yet,
and he's not written anything yet.
And I've read 124 issues of Batman, so I've kind of seen it come and go. And obviously Joshua Williamson has just finished his arc, which ended yesterday. 124 ended yesterday, and I'm ecstatic waiting for Chip Zdarsky. I've been chomping at the bit since it was like 3 months ago when it was told he was coming out and he was going to be working with George Jimenez, because George Jimenez worked with James Tynion doing the artwork for that. So he's come back and he's now doing it with Chip Zdarsky. And every single Batman cover I pick up, I always get cover A, and I also get the variants as well, the 2 variants. And I cannot wait. I really, really cannot wait. Chip Zdarsky is one of the greatest writers. He's absolutely smashed this out of the park with Daredevil. And now he's on Batman. and it's going to be great.
The anticipation is so high at the minute, and that brings concern as well, because with anticipation there's expectation, but I think Chip very rarely lets people down. And speaking of Chip Zdarsky, he can't be busy enough coming up with issue number 125.
Stillwater,
and Stillwater,
Daredevil.
yeah. He's doing Daredevil issue number 1 with Marco Cicchetto, $4.99, and I think apparently this is coming out the week after, so this is July 13. But again, just keep an eye on that one. So this is a follow up to the last run that he did, which is my favourite Daredevil run of all time. So after the rain comes the dawn is the synopsis. In the wake of Wilson Fisk's violent and visceral last act, it's a new era for New York and the Man Without Fear. With a groundbreaking creative team returning to usher in an all-new chapter, Matt Murdock has no choice but to leave behind everything he's ever known, and Elektra is the last vestige of his former life. Everything Matt Murdock thought is meant to be Daredevil is about to change, including the challenges he will have to face in the cowl. And it's rated T+, so I don't think they're going to hold back on this book. So that's Daredevil issue number 1.
I'm looking forward to reading this, because in was it in the previous ones didn't Wilson Fisk kill Daredevil's brother?
Spoiler. Yeah, no, it's definitely go and check it out. Hopefully this will get people to read the last arc as well. And there's 35, 36 issues in that, but it's definitely worth the read. Now, guys, I know we're 2 hours into the show, and thanks to everybody who's still with us.
Yeah.
But what I've done, guys, is I've tried to pick some kind of honourable mentions, and I've focused on the cover art, because I know a lot of people, especially with issue 1s, just look at the cover art and pick it based on that. So these are some of my top picks when it comes to FOC cover art. So I went for Robin Hood, Children of Dr. Moreau. I hope I've pronounced that right. Issue number 1. And this is by this particular cover here. Cover D is Ivan Teo, which is, for me, this year is probably top 3 cover artists. We'll see how the rest of the year goes, but he's definitely up there. So again, this is Zenoscope, I believe, is bringing this out. So this isn't going to be readily available. I think it's a little bit more. I think it's maybe a $6 or $7.99 book. So definitely take that code there and give it to your LCS, and they'll be able to get that ordered up for you, because I don't think you'll be finding this in the shelves. Were you guys even aware that this existed?
No.
I've read Robin Hood a couple of times, but not this particular one.
Not that one. Okay, and I think this might be a one shot as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I've put Little Monsters issue number 5 because it's the last issue. Dustin Nguyen has produced what I think is probably the best cover of the 5. I think this is stunning. This cover.
It's very Peach Momoko.
It really is. Do you know, I had to take a double take for it, but dare I say it's probably a little bit better, and it's in keeping with the artwork that's been in the books, where it's black and white and just that touch of red. So you're right, Chris, 100%. Next up, guys, I went for Batman Killing Time issue number 5. This is cover C, so this is a 1 in 20 cover. This is Ben Oliver variant, and I just thought this was absolutely stunning. It's not a run that I've been picking up, but you know, every so often you just get those covers that catch your eye. This was one of them. I think it's a fantastic cover. What do you think?
I like the cover. I do, and I've got Francesco Martina did one a while back. Yeah. The only thing about this Ben Oliver cover, and I don't know if it's the picture we've got on the screen, but his monocle looks too white. That. I look at that, and it's like someone's just accidentally put a white circle over it.
It's almost like it's unfinished.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It looks like it should be like glazed over and stuff. But yeah, it's a great cover, and it is a great cover.
At least if it's almost been Tipp-Exed over. But interestingly, I think there's a reason for that, because I think the reflection is a spoiler. So the reflection of the monocle is a spoiler, and that's why they've maybe done that.
Would make sense,
I could be completely wrong.
That would make sense.
I normally am.
Not very
last
often.
one here, guys. I've got Poison Ivy issue number 2. This is cover B by Jenny Frisson.
Sorry, can you say that again?
No, this is going to be a fantastic cardstock variant.
Oh, what?
Yep, this is going to be. Now, this comes in a 1 in 100 cover, but it's kind of got like a red hue over it, so it's like an all red cover. It doesn't, for me, it doesn't look half as good as this cover. And this is going to be open order as well, guys, so it's not as if it's a retailer incentive. So get all over it.
Has she done a similar cover with this with Harley Quinn? It looks like the same layout. I think it was last year, there was a Poison Ivy laying in that similar position and Harley Quinn was laying next to her. I think it was like for DC Pride last year, and I think that was done by Frisson.
No, you mentioned it. I think you may be right.
I kind of think I've seen this cover or this similar layout of the character before, but it's still a great cover.
Yeah, isn't she got Harley Quinn opposite her?
Yeah.
Oh yes, and it was like 2 joining covers, I think, wasn't it? Yeah.
It's the Pride one, isn't it? I think I've got the poster.
Yeah.
Which
so
I
yeah,
need to send to Charlie.
This is open order, guys. So $3 or £4, and this could be yours. So definitely check it out and get those orders in. 2 more to go, guys. I couldn't do a killer covers without a Batman 125 Jock cover. So this is the 1 in 50 Jock foil variant, which I think is the last in the run. And this I think is going to be a gold cover as well for 125.
Haven't you just picked this one for your covers this week?
No, that's next week.
Who's winning? Hold on, let me just check. Oh, 38%. Yeah, I'm winning.
I'm always losing, so I don't care.
Here, interestingly, I don't think this is the best one. I still think the one this week is probably the best one out of the lot of them. And yeah, there's a little bit of Batman Jock fatigue going on at the minute with the amount of covers he's doing. I went for Starhenge, Dragon and Boar issue number 1. This is a Ryan Brown cover. So Ryan Brown from Northern Ireland has done this cover, and I think it's stunning. I don't know anything about the book. Good.
No,
don't know anything about the book, but it was like kind of a featured in the previous book. So normally when they feature a book, it's going to be an interesting story. So yeah, I'll be picking it up just for the artwork, and if the story's any good, then it'll be a nice Brucey bonus for me. But that is FOC, guys, and as a reminder, FOC is for this Monday coming, so get your orders in at your LCS or check out Galactic Comics.
And for anyone that doesn't know what FOC is, Andy, can you give a brief synopsis of what FOC actually stands for?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's your final order cut-off. So normally what happens each week is it's roughly about the Friday, that's when it gets finalised. All the books that are going to be available for that weekend for publishers, they send, all the publishers send all the books, a list of all the books to all the shops, and the shops have an opportunity. It's the final opportunity for them to order them up before they go and get printed, and they normally work 3 or 4 weeks behind. So as I said, these books are due out the first week in July. It's just for me, I rely on final order cut off because I don't have a huge pull list, and I don't always want all the covers all the time. So every Friday I make a point of going in to my LCS and giving them the codes for the books that I want, and it just means that you're definitely going to get it, you're guaranteed to get it, and 9 times out of 10 you can pick a fantastic cover like this, or a book that maybe is going to be worth a little bit more money. And if you can flip some books to pay for the hobby, then I'm not against that, to be honest with you. So that's another opportunity that's open to you. But Tom, obviously you owned Not Quite Mint, so you've been well used to FOC and doing this sort of stuff.
Yeah, definitely, mate. And just exactly what Andy said, that's exactly how it works. If you can let the comic shop know on the Friday or Saturday what books you want that are coming to the final cut-off, that is great. But I would massively recommend, guys, as soon as you get your previews magazine, to get those books orders, because there's some that just go completely under the radar with the comic shops. And when it gets to final cut-off order, they might actually not even be able to get them anymore. And there are some times when books, I give you the keys, or we talk about books that have come out, and you guys are, I wish I'd have read that, but I can't get it anymore. I would go and try and pick them up really early on. I think we are planning at some point as a group, the 3 of us, of doing a preview show. So we'll be able to give you a little bit of a rundown of what we think you should get that
month.
Yeah.
I personally can't wait for that, Tom. I know we've done one on the Not Quite Mint channel, but I think the last 2 FOCs that I've done here is a kind of almost like a test piece to see how it would go and how it would be received. And I think doing once a month, we'll do a previews show which
Mhm.
we'll take the previews catalogues and we'll pick our top picks, top covers. And hopefully we might be able to work with our sponsor Galactic Comics to maybe offer some incentives to go to those guys and pick up those books. Alternatively, just go to your local comic shop.
Yeah, cool. So that has been an absolute stormer of a show. So now we get to this part. So I will go over to YouTube, and it's been very, very close this week. In joint second place, we have myself and Tom with 31% of the votes, and running away with 7% more is Andy with the Jock Batman 1 in 50, 124 Batman cover with 38% of the vote. So well done, Andy.
Woo! That's the fourth Jock cover in the list. That's 4 Jock covers.
Yes,
That's crazy.
I think it is. So yes, it is. But yeah, another good show. And then I like this bit, the Killer Comic Show sneak peek for next week. So this is the comics that we will be reading for next week. So up first is, I'm so glad you picked this, Tom.
No, not me, Andy. Andy did this, didn't he?
Or was it Andy? Andy.
Yeah, it was me. I think any one of us could have picked this because we are so looking forward to it. This is Aquaman Andromeda, and this is obviously by the fantastic Ram V and Christian Ward on art. You'll remember, guys, that we had the pleasure of interviewing Ram V for the second time on the show. He's a good friend of the show, and he talked to us about this book. If you haven't seen that, make sure you go and watch that replay on the channel. But I've heard really good things about this. I've heard really good reports about it, and I just cannot wait. I'm all over this for next week.
Read it last night. Really
it,
looking forward to the review.
Sorry, Charlie. Is it? What's the name of it? The
Like the extended size?
No, there's a website that I think it's I can't remember what it's called now. But anyway, they did a review of this and saying it's one of the best Aquaman comics ever written.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to read it.
Can't wait.
And what Connie said, she said, I really want to read Andromeda, but I know nothing about Aquaman, but it sounds class. You don't need to. You honestly, I read this last night, and if you've seen the film, and that kind of does it, but this book does enough to involve you in the Aquaman world from start to end. So if you haven't read Aquaman, if you don't know anything about Aquaman, this is a perfect jumping on point, or jumping in point, as it were.
I know nothing about Aquaman, and probably more importantly, I don't really care much for Aquaman. I mean, I've seen the movie. What I care for or care about is the fact that Ram V is writing this, and I honestly feel Ram V could take any character or any genre and make a really good story out of it. So I'm kind of read it for the fact that Ram V's writing it as opposed to being Aquaman. But I can't wait.
I've read it, and I'm going to save my review for next week. But it's very worth getting into it. Spoilers. I was torn between this and The Ward, but having read this, I'm very much looking forward to seeing what you guys thought about it, because it's something that, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first solo Poison Ivy comic that she's done. Maybe I'm wrong, but in recent time I think it is. But it's a story that you're not expecting, and in the end of Batman issue 124, which came out yesterday, there's 3 or 4 pages that tie into this. So if you're reading Batman, make sure you read that to tie into this. But if you don't, this is a whole separate story. But you kind of get the overview of what's been happening to Poison Ivy or Pamela Ivy in recent years and issues. So yeah, this is Poison Ivy issue number 1 for me, and then Tom.
Yes, so I enjoyed issue 1 of Twig, and no one else did. So I thought I'd go for issue 2. Hey! So I'm making these two read issue 2 of Twig whilst I'm away, and then I get to listen to them go on about it. So yeah, why not?
I just want to thank you for picking this, Tom, because again, I've read this, and
is it good?
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hey, you're welcome. What can I say except you're welcome?
So that's the sweet. No, it's not. That's the sneak peeks for next week. But before we do anything, and it's Andy's birthday tomorrow.
It is.
It is.
It is Andy's
Happy
birthday. He's going to be the big 50. I think that's absolutely amazing.
Yes, stone.
50. No, he's going to be 40. Are you going to be 40? You are going to be 40.
I am going to be 40. And, I am 40 years of age tomorrow. Happy birthday to me.
And it's going to be amazing because when we get to Thought Bubble, there'll be 2 celebrations happening. There'll be one where we'll be celebrating Tom's wedding, him getting married, and then we'll be celebrating Andy turning the big 4-0 as well. And it's going to be great. And then we'll just be partying because it's Thought Bubble and we're all getting together, which is going to be great.
Absolutely.
So, yes, very much looking forward to that. But before we do go on, I just want to end the show with, again, hobgoblinshideaway.co.uk. Head over there. Amazing stuff. You've got the homepage, got About Us, got Graded Comics, Raw Comics, CBCS grading, useful links, contact pages. And if you also, as an extra incentive, from midnight tonight, the site will be launching. If you put in KCS Andy 15, you could potentially get the Mask issue number 1 at a 9.4. You could get KCS Tom 15. You could get a 9.8 Spawn 300 signed by the legendary J. Scott Campbell. And if you put in KCS Charlie 15, you get 15% off of all of these comics and a 9.8 opportunity to get Roger Rabbit. How good is that? 15% off 15% off individual comics, one opportunity. Whoever gets that will get 15% off each of them. And we even have a little special guest. This is Rags, the fantastic Killer Comics mascot.
The 5th member of the Killer Comics show.
The 5th member is absolutely amazing. We need to get him a little jumper, don't we?
We do.
Absolutely.
He does need a little jumper.
But Andy, you was going to do a giveaway. So have you decided how you're going to do that, mate?
Yeah. Two things. So first of all, guys, if you aren't interested in these slabs, please at 12 o'clock or tomorrow morning, whatever, go on to the hobgoblinhideaway.co.uk and have a look at the other stuff that's there. Have a look at some of the raw books as well. And if you do happen to pick anything up, just let them know that the Killer Comics Show sent you, and that would be really, really appreciated. I did promise that we would have a giveaway for this, okay? So what I would like everybody to do is, if they can, when the show is finished, in the comments, if they could just, I'm trying to think there. I'll put myself in the spot. I don't want to ask questions or anything like that because that's just a bit boring. So I would just like you guys to tell us.
Yeah.
Go on.
Go on.
I was
going you
going
do.
to say.
No, go on, you do. Go on.
Tell us one thing you're thankful for, and then hashtag digital at the end. So that's one thing that you're thankful for, hashtag digital at the end. And what we'll do is in the next couple of days, we'll take all those that are in the comments, and that goes to the people that's live and the people that are is going to watch it in the rewind. And then we'll do the spinny wheelie thing and send one out. I'll send two out.
So one thing you're grateful for, hashtag digital, and then we'll collate it all. And then next week's show, we'll do the spinning wheel of misfortune. And one of you will be lucky enough to win not 1 issue, but 2 issues of digital, issue number 1 and issue number 2. Guys, I just want to say thank you for making this Thursday enjoyable as always. Thank you to the chat and every single person that joined us 2 hours and 20 minutes ago. It's been amazing. Tom, this is the last we see you. Next time we see you will be a married man. So sending all my love and wishes to you and your better half, the future Miss Mailing. It's going to be amazing.
That also said congratulations and good luck. I really appreciate that. I feel very loved. So thanks, guys.
And Andy, thank you for being you. You absolute fucking legend. Without you two, this show wouldn't be half of what it is. So sending you my love, kisses and hugs, because you're both genuinely decent people. And I love doing this every single Thursday night with you. Next week, we've got an amazing show lined up. Tom won't be here, but he's picked his comic, as you've seen as well. So, massively thank you to you. Thank you to everyone in the chat. And have a fantastic weekend. And Andy, you got anything to say?
Just be kind.
Yeah.
Always be
100%.
kind. And if you can't be kind, don't say nothing.
And if you can't be kind, be careful. There we go. That's what my mum used to say to me. But there we go. But guys, fantastic show. Doing it with you guys. Always great. Have a great weekend. Enjoy what you're reading. And Tom?
As always, stay safe, stay sexy.
See you later, everyone.
See ya!